What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here again and again and again. Another game where we haven't won at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. 2 wins all season at home. Sim drew the short straw. He had to be there yesterday, which
begging you, please take the ticket. Come on, I'll be in the
he really
studio.
was. You should have seen our WhatsApp exchanges before the game.
He's like, no, don't worry. I'll take the. I won't go. You do it. It's part of the schedule. Don't you worry.
Let's stick to the plan. Stick to the plan.
Trust the process.
Yeah, we'll get into everything about the game a bit later on. I just want to let you guys know as well, at the top of the stream, you see the pinned comment is a link to submit your player ratings. So if you go, click that link, submit your player ratings, and we'll react to them, to the averages on the player rating segment as well. So look, without further ado, let's get into a Tottenham update, because we know Spurs are in the market, as Thomas Frank says. We're in the market. We're looking to bring players in. Brennan Johnson's gone. Mohamed Kudus is injured. Odebear went off with an injury yesterday as well. Yeah, he did. Nothing. It didn't look significant, to be honest, but he also went off with a bit of a knock. So we are very short in numbers in the wing areas, and look, if we knew what we knew now, as Thomas Frank said in the press conference, surely we wouldn't have sold Brennan Johnson, but he's gone. He's already made his debut for Crystal Palace, and Spurs are kind of in desperation mode and in bringing in some attacking options, as well as a central midfielder, as well as a left back, and any other position which you think Spurs need right now. But we've got a few updates to bring you. And first of all, we're going to talk about Omar Marmoush. The Footy Insider says that Egypt winger Omar Marmoush is not interested in a move to Tottenham. He wants to stay and fight for his place at Man City, amid reports that Spurs and Aston Villa are interested in bringing in the 26-year-old. Marmoush has fallen out of favour under Pep Guardiola this season, having started only 4 matches in the Premier League. So yeah, that's the second rejection, I think. What was the first one? We had one already. I can't remember who, but
Semenyo politely.
Semenyo, that was it.
Politely declined.
Second rejection of the window, 5 days in.
Will Marmoush's be polite, or will it be aggressive?
I think
be offended.
It'll be a nice polite rejection.
Look, I would obviously take him. I think we need all the help we can get right now. Marmoush is obviously a brilliant player. We've even seen it for City at times. He's brilliant, and I know this season, I don't know what's gone on with him, but they can't seem to make it work right now, because whether it be on the wing or... I don't know, they don't really play with a second striker. They like more a midfielder in that position. But, yeah, I mean, he's going to have so many better offers than Tottenham if he is looking to leave. I don't know if they will sell him because, again, they're in a title race, and I think that he could be very handy in the run-in. So I don't think he's going to leave. But if he was to leave, obviously he's going to start playing a lot of games at Tottenham, but at the moment, we're not creating anything for our attackers, so I don't think he looks at how we're playing and thinks, yeah, I need to be a part of that. And I think his point in his career, he's, 27? Like, he wants to be somewhere where it's a bit more of a functioning team, I assume. Maybe he looks at Tottenham and thinks, oh, there's an opportunity there, and it's a big club who are low down on the table, and I can go and change their fortunes. And obviously he did very well at a team like Frankfurt, who I think were quite a counter-attacking team, so maybe he sees the value there, but I find it so hard to imagine Marmoush looks at the Tottenham project right now and says, yeah, I want to join that. Well, maybe on loan, but...
Well, he won't, because apparently he's not interested in joining Tottenham.
Yeah.
So that's that one. The next one, actually, I don't have an update, a headline for, but Ali Gold actually reported on Kenan Yildiz, I think earlier this morning or late last night, saying that Spurs do have an interest in Yildiz. However, there is reports in Italy saying he's about to sign a new contract. So... yeah, that's another one down the pan.
Yeah, we will never get him, not in a million years. He's going to be at Juve for a while, so I think anyone dreaming of Yildiz needs to wake up. Yeah,
look, I think anyone dreaming of an upgrade on Brennan Johnson needs to probably wake up at this point, because you're looking at the state that Spurs are in, manager situation up in the air. If we do sack Frank over the next week or so, can we convince a player to come here without a manager? If Frank does stay here, can we convince a player to come here with the way we play? So I think there's many questions and not many answers. Next up, Yan Diamande, Sky Sports. same kind of update saying that Tottenham are among the clubs interested in RB Leipzig winger Yan Diomande. United, PSG and Bayern Munich all monitoring him. The 19-year-old and some scouts feel he is already beyond some top talent playing in the Premier League.
Wow. I mean, it's a lot to say that, considering how much he's played, but maybe he is that special. But it's an expensive gamble. We're signing a player here in Diomande who's younger than the players that we're right now talking about as projects, and they're long-term players, and we need players for right now, and yet we're talking about signing a player who's younger. Now, I get that age is just a number, and if you're ready, you're ready, and if he is that good, then he can come in and he could potentially be better. But I think the point being that Tottenham this window have been saying a lot about how we need ready-made players. We need players who are ready to come in, make an impact at peak age, all this kind of stuff. And then the solution to that potentially being a 19-year-old who's only played 20-odd games, or now about 20, 25 games in his career at the top level, seems a bit fanciful and far-fetched. I think in another situation, I think it might be a no-brainer. You know, let's say Son was still here and he was our number one winger, you get in Diomande and he can be the future. But when you have Tel and Odebear as your winger options right now, which we do, the fact that we're talking about bringing another 19-year-old with even less experience than them is odd. And I know all the tacticos in the world can tell me how good this guy is. I'm sure there were a bunch of tacticos who tell me how good Tel and Odebear were before we signed them. Doesn't mean he's going to come in the Premier League and hit the ground running. And we've known, and I think it's been a big example this season when you look at a lot of the forwards who've come from the Bundesliga, Xavi, Wirtz, Tel's come in, where you can look very good in that league and then you come to the Premier League and it's very, very different. And I'm not saying that means they're all bad players. I'm just saying there's going to be an adjustment, potentially could be an adjustment period.
100%.
You know, there's a lot of space to play in the Bundesliga. You come to the Premier League, it's a lot harder. So just because he looks like this in the Bundesliga doesn't mean it's necessarily going to translate. Doesn't mean it won't, but doesn't mean it definitely will. So to sign him for big money when he's 19 to be our first choice option, I'm not saying I don't want him. I'm just saying it's, in terms of the whole transfer policy and what we're going for, in my mind, it doesn't line up to what's been suggested.
Correct, 100%. But this is where we are right now. Like, what kind of ready-made player that can come in, hit the ground running, can we even attract right now?
Agreed, which is why I also been talking about people saying, yeah, Frank just needs his players in January and it's going to sort everything. I'm like, no, that's not going to happen. He's going to have to deal with what he's got. I don't think it's going to get much better than this.
But there's even rumours of us letting Tel go now as well.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Which is madness to me.
Which is crazy. Like, look, we might get some players in January. We're not going to get any ready-made stars. I'll be shocked if we do. Maybe we'll get one in, but it's not going to be. We're not going to revamp the squad this January. It ain't going to happen.
We need to. If we are going to do it, which I don't think we are, I think it's highly unlikely. I agree with you. We're going to have to sell them the dream of dreams. Yeah, literally, going to have to be the talk of a God knows.
Well, maybe Ange could have done that, to be honest, because he's a great talker. But I don't know about what
bringing Ange as sporting director. Forget this Johan Lang guy. Bring Ange in as sporting director.
So, yeah, get Diomande in. I'm not saying he wouldn't be an exciting signing. It's just. Yeah, I'm already considering what I heard from Frank yesterday about Brennan. We were having this discussion, weren't we, when we sold him? Is it an opportunistic sale or is it part of the plan? And Frank pretty much confirmed
it was an opportunistic sale. Yeah,
he said it was an opportunity. Sometimes there's a small window to sell a player, and we decided to do it. He even said, he admitted, maybe right now it doesn't make sense, but down the line it'll make more sense.
I think.
It's like, okay, what have we done then?
I think this Brennan Johnson sale, after hearing what Frank said, is one of the biggest disgraces, man. It really is ridiculous what we've done here with Brennan Johnson. And I get he wasn't playing, and I get he's not part of the long-term future. But are we not worried about now? Are we genuinely just not worried about the rest of this season? Like, Brennan Johnson was our top goal scorer last season. He was second to Kudus in terms of the right wing. We have no plan of who we're going to bring in, it seems. We're going to be getting rejections after rejections this whole window for top quality players. I guarantee you now there is no chance we bring in a player. I said this to you the other day. No chance that we get someone better than Brennan Johnson in this window.
Well, at least I don't see a chance we get a player who's capable of scoring the goals that Brennan can. We know he's capable of. We know can do it. So, and now Kudus is injured. So I think this whole situation is very, very strange. and
we've seen it.
We come into this window without a plan again. Like
we've seen it time and time again with this football club. We let players go for no reason. Like, do you remember when we had this conversation about letting Davinson Sanchez go in that window without having another centre back?
We actually let him go after the window closed.
Yeah. And we had no other centre-back. And what happened?
The next game, Romero, Van der Ven gets a big injury.
And we let Brennan Johnson go. And what happens? Kudus gets injured the next game. Do we never learn our lessons?
It's shocking. I don't understand why we jumped at the chance. I know 35 million is nothing to be sniffed at, but it's not exactly like the best fee. I think it's a good deal for Palace, if anything. Like, I'm not saying it's not. I think it's his market value, but like in this situation, you have to maybe make Palace pay a bit more if you're going to sell him, because we're not in a great situation with our depth right now. So we need Brennan.
I don't care about the fee that we receive. 35 million, yeah, fine, whatever. What I care about is the ability to put players on the pitch that can make a difference. And we've got rid of Johnson, who as well, yeah, look, don't get me wrong, he wasn't the greatest player in the world, and, we could do a lot better than Brennan Johnson, fine. But for the here and now, we need him. We need him right now. He would be starting. He would be starting on Wednesday if we had him right now.
Yeah, absolutely. You could have been brought. Frank after the game, I know this isn't a Brennan Johnson thing, but Frank after the game was talking about he was complaining about his lack of depth. He's saying, I wish I had players to bring on. Well, yeah, you just sold Brennan. I don't know if it was his decision or a club decision or whatever, but we just sold Brennan. And now you're complaining about no one to bring on. When actually Brennan was pretty good in the last few games when off the bench. Against Palace when he came on, and he also came on the game before against, what was it, Liverpool. He looked quite good. So what the hell are we doing?
Yeah.
Now we're complaining.
Look, selling Brennan Johnson essentially isn't the issue here. Selling him without a plan and without players straight away is ridiculous.
It's ludicrous.
Anyway, next up, we're going to talk about Magnus Akliouche. Team Talk saying that Tottenham had scouts in attendance on Saturday to watch Magnus Akliouche in action for Monaco against Lyon. Akliouche is expected to cost upwards of 50 million, a hefty fee, though still below the price RB Leipzig are demanding for Yan Diomande.
Yeah.
Can we convince Akliouche to come?
Maybe.
Before Wednesday?
No, definitely not. I think, again, Monaco in the Champions League, aren't they? They ain't going to let him go before that their Champions League fate is decided. They're going to need him. They know that. So when it comes to Akliouche, I think right now I would take him, like, for sure. He's a great player, especially with Johnson gone. I think we could really do with him. So for sure, he's a really, really good, talented attacker. I don't know whether we can convince him to come or he's on to bigger things. That's another question.
That's Akliouche. I mean, I would love him at the club, and particularly with the holes that we've got in the squad now, he'll be so valuable to us. We don't know when. We still have no word on Kulusevski. As we've just highlighted, Brennan Johnson's gone and Kudus is out. And there's just been an update on Kudus as well. Frank says in the press conference that he had a scan at 1 p.m. to clarify the severity of the injury he suffered yesterday. The club are waiting on the results. So
it's not. I think he's going to be out for a few weeks at least.
Yeah,
I would say.
Does it look like
injury.
a hamstring or something?
Yeah, so I would say minimum. I would say he's definitely out for tomorrow.
Yeah, for sure. Next up, Team Talk are reporting that Tottenham senior scouts believe the club should make Christos Tzolis their top winger target in this January transfer window. Club Brugge would demand a record sale to let Tzolis leave, which means they would demand at least £35 million for the Greek international.
Yeah, I mean, we were linked with him before, haven't we?
Yeah.
And he seems like a good talent and someone who could maybe do well. But again, it's not exactly the names we were promised or whatever, but I think he's having a good season. He seems to be a player with good potential. We just need help, don't we, right now?
Yeah, we need to take anything that we can get. Is he an upgrade on Brennan Johnson?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you that. He might well be. There's a lot of players who might be better players than Johnson. But are they more effective, and can they get the goal contributions that he can? That's another question.
Yeah, look,
but I'm sure he's a good player.
Scored 16 goals last season, 22 the year before, but obviously playing at a much lower level than the Premier League. Is in the Belgian league right now, playing for Club Brugge, and last season he was in the Bundesliga too. So obviously hasn't played anywhere close to the high level, but look, he's very highly rated and highly thought of. He was at Norwich not long ago as well and didn't do too well there, but He has had a taste of Premier League football, which is the point. I think played 14 games in the Premier League for Norwich, but he was very young when he was, because he's 23 now, played in the Premier League in the 21-22 season, so he's about 19 years of age. So that's him. Next one from Paul O'Keefe says that Toulouse 19-year-old French defender Diane Methely is on a list of possible options for left back. And that's obviously, we're chasing Brazilian Sousa as well, which, I mean, I'm not, I don't like this, to be honest, chasing these 19-year-olds left backs, because was having a chat with Brian on the fan show yesterday, and I thought he was absolutely spot on in what he's saying. We can't keep trusting destiny when he keeps getting injured the way gets injured. So if we're going to sign a left back, I want us to sign a first choice left back, not a 19-year-old up and coming left back who might take a year or two to settle and 4 or 5 years to get to his peak. I think we need to sign someone to come in here and now and challenge destiny, or even potentially be better than destiny, because I think it's become evident that we can't trust him.
Yep, again, it comes down to who we can get. It'd probably be easier to attract the left back than it would be a forward player, because they're obviously harder to attain, they're more expensive. Also, we did a video about lists of left backs, and I think some of them definitely attainable.
Like Robinson. There's no reason why we can't attract Robinson.
Yeah, but he's just going to be very expensive. And we have, £150 million war chest apparently this January, so there's no reason not to splash out a bit. But again, we have so much to do. But when it comes to these 19-year-olds, whatever, do I have a strong opinion on it? Yeah, I'd rather we sign a first choice. If I'm looking for someone who's more senior, would I rather spend less on the left back and more on the senior forward players, or the other way around? If it was a choice, then I'd rather go for bigger money in the forward line, of course. But why does it have to be a choice? It shouldn't. We should go for senior players everywhere, of course. Yeah. That's what I'd like. But in terms of within the budget, it seems as though they feel like a left back, if we go for someone a bit more potential over right here, right now, maybe it leaves more money for the forward line.
What about the midfielder?
What about the midfielder? What about everyone? What about the goalkeeper? What about the centre back? It's tough at the moment. Looking at what's going on this window. Look, for me, I just think that this is why I'm so big on Frank doing more with what he has, and we do have players, in my opinion, who can show more, because I don't think there's going to be any sort of parachute coming for him this January. I don't think there's going to be anything serious that's going to be a game changer in January. He might get some more depth and more players, but I don't think it's going to be anything that's wildly better than what we have, is my point. So if he can't do more with what he's got right now, that worries me for what's going to happen if we do get more players in January. How much more he can do with those players would be my point. So, yeah, I think at the moment, if we get a left back 19-year-old, I'd rather we got our first choice, but it doesn't bother me as much as long as we spend bigger in the forward line.
Yeah. Look, if we were to buy a significant player in the forward line, I kind of agree with that. But if we're just talking about the back line, can we really persist to be trusting with Destiny Udogie with the rate that he's getting injured?
Yeah,
since he's joined. Yeah.
Well, look, Van der Ven seemed to have gotten over it at the moment, but hopefully Destiny can do the same. But it hasn't happened. He's had trouble ever since he's come, really, with the hamstring.
But just like we've got Spence and Porro potentially on the right-hand side, you would want similar level on the left-hand side. And a 19-year-old who no one has really heard of doesn't really suggest that.
No.
In terms of team news going into the game on Wednesday, that has just come to me, and Javi Simmons is available again after serving his suspension. That's a welcome return. It says Kudus is considered unlikely to feature, although the club is still waiting for results on the scan he underwent today. Udogie is training and improving, and Solanke is also continuing to train. And Frank said that it will take time for the forward to be back at 100% after missing so much time.
Okay, so some positivity, I guess. Not great on Kudus, to be honest. Don't like the sound of that. So we'll see what develops. But hopefully Solanke's up to speed. It sounds like maybe we'll get to see him back in the next few weeks, but who knows? Udogie, that sounds like he's going to be back soon. So that's good, which we need desperately. But yeah, I don't know. It's fine. It's some mixed news there. Obviously, Xavi being back's massive. So let's hope things can improve. And Frank said he's going to have to rotate tomorrow on Wednesday.
Yeah.
So we're struggling with players to rotate with. So
I'm thinking, who can he actually rotate in the forward line? Muani, probably for Richarlison. On the wings, can he rotate anyone? If Kudus
out.
If Kudus is out, obviously Brennan's gone. Tell and Odebear. I mean, does he really need to rotate Tell and Odebear? Tell's barely played.
Yeah, Tell Odebear doesn't have to, but he's going to have to play Rishi and Muani. That's the only way I have anyone else. Let's just Bergvall on the 10.
I mean,
Xavi.
I think he probably starts Muani up top, Tell and Odebear on the wings, and Xavi in the 10. That's probably what he does. He doesn't need to rotate Tell and Odebear. They barely played.
Yeah, it's true. Shouldn't need to.
So look, that is your Tottenham update for today. Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts regarding all the news stories that we have brought you today. And we're going to move on and talk about the game. Just before we do that, a super chat has just come in, so let's react to that. Southeast Coy says, unless we finish in any European spots or win the FA Cup, end of the season should result in Frank being let go, especially if we have a chance to bring back our best manager in recent history. Yeah.
He's talking about Poch, I'm assuming.
Of course he's talking about Poch. Have some shame, man.
I don't see any trophies. I don't see any trophies.
Jesus Christ. Look, I think that's a given that at the end of the season we need to go through a massive review again of the football club, if not before that.
The problem is the decision makers who made the decision to bring in Frank are still making the decisions. And so whatever process they put in was flawed. Either it was a flawed process or they don't really understand football at the level that they need to understand it to make those decisions. And that obviously massively worries me when it coming to if we were to appoint someone else. Because how can we trust their opinion of this was the guy to put a rebuild under, he's going to get us playing good attacking free-flowing football, when he didn't have evidence of that and he hasn't shown it here. So it worries me that who the decision makers are going to be. Yeah,
God knows what's around the corner for Tottenham Hotspur in terms of the managerial thing, but look, we'll get into it.
I guess
all.
Poch, if we bring in Poch, that's I guess an easy way around it because that's just a manager everyone knows.
Yeah,
and who was successful here before. So it's kind of like it's like an appointment you make because you have no creativity, you don't really know what to do. So
it's basically when the board is getting questioned as much as it is right now in terms of the decision making, like you're talking about. After this transfer window, if we're not able to bring in the required quality who everyone thinks we need, they're going to get questioned again.
Absolutely.
So hiring Pochettino is probably going to be seen as a quick win to get fans on board.
Exactly, deflection. Yeah, exactly. And it's not an appointment that shows what they know what they're doing. Is my point. It's just an appointment that is easy to do.
Yeah, exactly. Low hanging fruit. All right. So let's get that off. Oh, you've already done that. All right, let's get into the game then. Obviously, you were there yesterday.
I was.
Talk to me about, first and foremost, the vibe around the stadium, because I was there. When was I last there? And it was last few games I've been there. It's just been really bad, to be honest. To be honest, not too much. Everyone's just a bit like over it and being like, let's just have a bit of fun with it.
Yeah, that's kind of the vibe I got yesterday. Actually, the atmosphere wasn't terrible. I thought the fans were trying to get behind the team, especially in the south. There was a constant kind of the drummer was constantly supporting.
Big up to the drummer.
Yeah, the fans were constantly chanting different things. It wasn't like an electric atmosphere, but it was like constant support. There wasn't long silent periods, put it that way, where where you could feel the fans on the players' backs and they weren't groaning at every loose pass and those kind of things. I thought the fans were generally supportive yesterday. Maybe it was a reaction to a better first half and a better kind of performance and more attacking intent. I think the fans probably acknowledged that. And even second half, I thought the fans, even though some of them would come back into it, we kept supporting and kept supporting the team and cheering them on. But obviously, once the full-time whistle went, especially those last 10 minutes when we would level and trying to get the winner with a little avail, then the real frustration started boiling over. And obviously at full time there were very loud boos for the team. Thomas Frank, very noticeably, I felt, he clapped the fans, but he basically, what he did was he moved to the centre circle. He kind of did a little like couple steps like towards the south, like he was still very much like in the D, basically on the halfway line. Heard he was getting booed and decided I'm not going to go any further, and just turned and went down the tunnel. Maybe it's smart to do, but he didn't obviously go over to clap the fans like he told Van de Ven and Spence to do when they obviously drudged past him. I think it was against Chelsea in that game. Although he would argue he did clap the fans, he just didn't get close to the south stand, and Van de Ven and Spence didn't actually clap them at all. They just trudged off straight away. So don't know if you're splitting hairs or if there's a massive difference there, but Frank, didn't want to hang around too long, it seemed. But it was definitely, everyone's just, I think, apathetic, fed up, don't like what they're seeing. No one, I can't think of anyone or see anyone who really likes what the manager really believes that this guy's right for our club. The approach for most games is really dire and really hard to watch. You know, sitting back at home to a promoted team who have scored, by the way, before yesterday, 4 goals away from home this season, and we're sitting back against them and basically trying to see out a 1-0 for way too long. Is not anything that we expect from Tottenham Hotspur. And whatever you want to say about the quality of the squad, we have very large resources, and we need a manager who is going to be someone to allowed to back with those resources and get the most out of them and get us into a position where we are capable of dominating teams, playing good football, winning games of football. And right now, none of that is happening. And I think just in the stadium, it wasn't toxic. It was just, I think, frustration, and everyone's fed up. And I think everyone just wants to change. I think no one's enjoying what they're seeing.
Yeah, I think it's good to hear that, we're supporting the club whilst the game's going on, and I think the boos are warranted after the game. And look, we'll get into the game, but
it's every game at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think it's warranted when you're looking at what we've produced on the pitch this season. I think fans are well within their right to boo the team off the pitch, but I think it's right not to let that negativity seep in from the fan base during the game.
Which I think obviously it did against Fulham, but it hasn't. I don't think it's happened since. But I was saying after, I think yesterday, I think in terms of I would take the game in isolation, is that a booable performance? Probably not. I think in a different context, we wouldn't have been booing in that situation, just in that game in isolation. But I think in the context of the season, how it's gone, especially our home form, the football that's being played, I think you wouldn't expect anything else but that happening. And I think you've got to take that into the perspective of the performance and the game, because I think in general, for large parts of the game, it wasn't awful. But unfortunately, given how we've played for so long in the season, we can't just take a 45 minutes of decent performance to sit here and say, that's good enough for what we're seeing.
Yeah,
so that's the reality.
And look, here in the studio, we were happy with what we saw in the first 45 minutes at half time, and I was saying, wow, look at this team, we're pressing high from the front, we're winning the ball in such good areas. How many times did we win the ball in their final third? How many times? I thought Bentancur was fantastic in that first half. He was running the show in the centre of the park. I thought he was brilliant, unplayable at times. Kuti Romero and Mickey van der Ven stepping in, being really aggressive, helping us keep Sunderland penned in, and the desire and the aggressive nature of the team I thought were fantastic in that first half. But we still couldn't really muster up an attack to hurt Sunderland too much. The reality is we were 1-0 up, but we scored from a corner, and that corner went from Kuti Romero keeping it on to Mickey van der Ven, and then Ben Davies just about got the touch at the end.
Exactly, and if you look at that, if you're being brutally honest, that is shocking from Sunderland, because Romero was allowed, by the way, to take the ball down inside the box from a corner, by the way. Teld plays it in. Romero takes the ball down. He slips, gets back up, picks out Van der Ven, who then taps it to Davis, and then he puts it in. So not only did we have 3 touches in the box from the corner, but Romero also had time to slip, get back up, and still pick out a pass. That would not happen in 99% of games. You would not be afforded the opportunity. Now, lucky for us, it's kind of happened in 2 games in a row, or 2 out of the last 3, because against Palace, we also had a goal from a corner where we had 3 touches without a touch from an opposition player. But that is, people don't have to realise that is really unlikely. You maybe get 2, a header across the face, a goal, and then a shot. But to have 3 touches without reply is basically unheard of. And if it's usually gonna result in a goal, that does happen. But to think that kind of action is you can replicate that, you can't. I think in those 2 elements, for me, I think it's just luck that we've been able to have 3 touches in the box from an opposition corner without having them touch it.
It's a good point someone makes here. I mean, Arsenal have made a career out of doing stuff like that. They seem to get plenty of touches in the opposition box.
No, they don't. It's usually back post and Gabriel heads it.
I've seen, I can't remember off the top of my head, but there have been where it's just a melee in there and it's just like 2 or 3 Arsenal touches in the box.
Rare. I'm telling you that specific. You might be thinking of just goals from corners. I'm telling you, it's very rare to have 3 touches without reply in a corner. It's not common, and we've done it twice in the last 3 games, and that's obviously a goal's 4 points. But to rely on that is, I'm not saying rely on set pieces in the whole, because obviously set pieces become very important, and set pieces you can replicate that. But the kind of corners that we're scoring, recently, I would say, I think. I don't think it's easy to do that often. No. And I think it's very poor defending from Sunderland.
But look,
in my opinion.
Yeah, look, it was. There's no 2 ways about it. But when you're judging the first half display, I think it just goes to show how starved we are as a fan base when we're all so happy with that first half display. And look, don't get me wrong, it was decent, but to be so happy when we haven't made the goalkeeper made 1 save, that just shows you how starving we are. And all these things that we were showing, pressing, winning the ball back, being aggressive, all the things that I mentioned before, that should be the bare minimum of what we should expect from this team and our own team going into each game by game. And as much as we were happy with it at half time, it wasn't like particularly amazing, was it? It was decent.
It's exactly what I was saying. I think, again, in another context, if we had a different manager in a different season, going our way, you'd probably say decent first half. We've played quite well. Haven't put the game to bed, but this would be like an average home game. This would be like a standard home game, right? That's that kind of performance.
Like, we were by far the better team. The better team, and we definitely deserved to be 1-0 up at half time. But it's just frustrating how we're calling that was probably one of our best 45 minutes of the season, and we didn't make the keeper make a save.
Yeah, and the football wasn't exactly exhilarating. It was fine. Like, we got chances to put some crosses in. We created some moments. There was no real clear-cut opportunities. There was, as you say, the keeper didn't have to make a save apart from right at the beginning with Tell, who had a shot early on. So we had that shot on target. But we struggled to really break them down. We struggled to really open them up. And for all the good pressing and pen them in, had possession, I think the most impressive thing was how we kept Sunderland at arm's length. But again, I will say, they have scored 4 goals away from home this season. This isn't a team that loves scoring away from home. Okay, so it's not exactly like it's that hard to keep them out, like as were other teams. So, but we did keep them at arm's length, and they struggled to get anything near our goal in that first half. So that was good. But as I say again, that should be seen as a kind of standard performance, nothing amazing, nothing special. And that's like the best it's been for at home, apart from the Brentford game, for us this season. So it's hard to get too excited when you've seen that. And obviously we didn't kill the game off. Even can't even get excited with the goals. Like, the goals we were scoring are rubbish as well. The goal we scored against Palace was awful. This goal was also terrible. I know Ben Davis scored, and the chant of Davis again, ole ole, ringing around the stadium.
I started that chant.
So you started the chant, didn't you?
Yeah. I was singing it here in the studio, and then I saw your video afterwards. I was like, wow.
Brilliant. I think, that obviously, maybe someone's watching the watch-along in the stadium.
Yeah, maybe.
Obviously, that was a response to Johnson leaving, and Davis got his goal. But it's, I think for me, it's hard to praise it too much, that opening 45 minutes, as much as it was better because of all those reasons. Like, I can't sit here and say, oh, that was amazing. Like, first of all, it got worse again in the second 45. And also, as you say, we didn't really create much. And I know the XG was fairly high. I think it was like 0.9 in the first half. But again, how much was that due to Davis being right on the line when he scored?
Yeah, it was pretty much an open goal from Ben Davis.
So that was probably a 0.8 or something XG. Like, all the rest was low quality shots. So it's not exactly like we... Like, I saw some tweets saying, oh, you know, in that first half we should have been 2-3 up. I was like... I mean, should we? Given the dominance,
given the dominance that we had, that we should have put the game to bed in the first half. We should have created more clear-cut chances with the dominance that we had, 100%. But we didn't, and we were 1-0 up, and it was probably a fair reflection of the chances that we created, being 1-0 up. But you know, I liked Tello out on the left-hand side. You know, his first start in a long time, and I thought he was the most busy out of our forward line. And what I liked about him as well, he was having a few shots, a few digs from far out, and he was always trying to do that kind of Sonny manoeuvre and cut inside and have that kind of whip shot. There was one that went just far wide of the post. There was one that you were talking about right at the beginning that forced the save out the keeper. So I like the dynamic of Tell on the left-hand side, and I hope he persists with it, and I hope he doesn't loan him out, because he looks like our strongest forward player with Kudus out injured.
Yeah, and also not only just the shots, which I agree, it was nice to see someone take some shots from out wide, which feels like we just never see. But also he was whipping the crosses in. I know it was to no avail, but he was taken on his man. Wasn't like, I wouldn't say he had him on toast or anything, but what he was doing,
asking questions.
Good at. He was actually creating a yard and whipping the ball in. Now I'm looking at the box, and again, we pretty much only have Richarlison and maybe one other in there at any given point.
Yeah.
And we're expecting the crosses to be so pinpoint that those players are found. And where the other players are sitting are right on the edge of the box. They're sitting on the edge of the box, so that if the ball is cleared, it either falls to them or it stops a counter-attack. But if we're not getting the players in the box, how do you expect those crosses to be met by anyone? How do you, when we're constantly outnumbered? Obviously, it's hard to get loads of players in the box and risk a counter-attack, but that's a risk. It's a risk versus reward. If you get enough players in there, more often than not, you're going to start creating more chances and getting more shots on goal. But it seems as though whenever I look at the box, when Tell or Kudus are crossing it, there's very little to aim at. There's not a lot of players. They're all kind of kept on out the box. So people will bemoan the lack of quality, but are we giving them the best opportunity to be getting an assist or by someone getting on the end of it?
Yeah, it's a fair point. Odebear started in the 10, which was a surprise to everyone. I thought it was going to be Kudus in the 10, but it was Odebear in the 10. And look, I thought Odebear, what he did really well was his pressing. He kept winning the ball back consistently. But I just felt there was a bit of a lack of quality from him to actually create a chance or to have a shot or whatever. Like, he was very busy in the opening half an hour, I would say. But then he kind of like just kept waning out the game and until he got taken off, didn't he? Odebear. So that was that with Odebear, which, you know, nice busy performance, but didn't really make too much of an impact. Kudus went off after 15 minutes, which is a massive blow for us. And then Muani came on, and I thought Muani was poor, man, when he came on. Kept losing the ball, heavy touches. I just don't like Muani on the wing. I've said it consistently time and time again. What does he do?
It's a weird one, Muani, because I actually think when it comes to him on the wing, sometimes when he gets the ball, he looks like the player who can keep it and actually take it past the player quite often. But again, the quality at the end of it. There was a moment where he dribbled past like two players. All he had to do was just slip Tell in. Tell was there on the left-hand side, in on goal, and he decided to try and dribble or get it past the player rather than just pass it into Tell, and it was a really poor decision. He had another one when Porro plays the ball over the top, and he was in on goal with a better touch, and he takes a poor touch, and that chance was gone. There was a few moments there where he was there in the right position to impact the game, and his either decision making or the quality was really, really poor. But he got himself in those situations a lot due to his good work. So it's a bit of like, which way do you put it? A lot of people saying, accusing him of not wanting to be here. A lot of people say his body language doesn't look good.
I think that's just him, though.
Yeah, I don't know if I buy into that. I think that's a bit much. But it's now January, and the reality is he hasn't scored a Premier League goal.
Yeah.
and that is the truth.
Yeah, I mean, from his perspective, coming into the game yesterday, obviously he's come in to make an impact in the first team straight away. He's a French international, and he's got players like Audebert and Tel ahead of him who are French under-21 internationals. So how do you think he's feeling about that?
Yeah, he's probably frustrated. And obviously we all complain about Rishi, but he can't get in the team at the moment ahead of him because Rishi's scoring goals and he isn't. So he's probably come here on loan thinking, obviously he wants to get in that World Cup squad, and he's struggling.
But he's got to look at himself more than anything else. He's got to make an impact. And as much as say we like his performances, we like his energy on the pitch, the reality is he's not making enough of an impact in games right now.
Yeah, he needs to be getting more goal contributions. That's the reality, which he did at his previous clubs, but just hasn't been able to replicate that here for one reason or another.
Yeah, I think apart from the 2 goals against PSG, that's the only goal contributions he's got.
Yeah. No, he got didn't he get an assist against Copenhagen, I think?
Against Copenhagen, yeah, he got 1 assist. But Premier League, 0 goals, 0 assists.
Yeah.
So he's got to be doing a lot better, in my opinion. I want to talk about Bentancur because I think Bentancur is going through a good moment. I mean, we're always talking about him being up and down, but I think the last couple of games, he's actually been decent. And first 45, I thought it might have been his best 45 of the season. I thought he was fantastic, man. Playing out of trouble, gobbling everything up, being aggressive. Everything that you want to see from Bentancur, I thought he provided for us in that first 45 minutes of football.
Yeah, and I thought he was dominant. He looked really good. I was really impressed with him. And he was playing the ball, he was just being very aggressive. What again I like about Bentancur, something that goes under the radar, is his reading of the game. He's reading the game.
Anticipation, yeah.
Anticipation, when he presses to win the ball back, his understanding where the ball's going to go. I thought in the first half he was really good. I thought him and Gray was doing some good stuff as well. His driving into the pitch. I thought Gray was obviously a bit more forward thinking, which, look, it looks like Bentancur is very much at the moment our first choice DM. He has been now for the last 5-6 games. Paulinho is just not at the moment. I wonder if he is even to say, is he in his plans? He's just a glorified super sub at the moment, it seems. Paulinho in the last few games. It looks like
and no matter if we're winning, losing, drawing, he always brings him on.
Okay, obviously he's in his plans, but it's a really interesting dynamic given how talked about Paulinho was at the start of the season. And it's not like he's dropped his performance. He's just been out of the team. And now Frank very much prefers Bentancur and thinks he's a better fit for what he wants, which I do find very interesting, considering everyone was saying pay the money for Paulinho and sign him, and he's it was a no-brainer. We're very much clearly a decision up for debate at the moment, I would say, whether to sign him permanently. But back to Bentancur, when he's in this kind of mood, yeah, he's really good, and it seems as though he can only manage it once a week. If he plays more than once a week, then something goes wrong. But yeah, he was in good form yesterday. Yeah,
absolutely. I thought Archie was a bit up and down in the game, to be honest. I thought he did well driving forward, but I think sometimes his pass or his touch let him down a bit on the day, which seems to happen with Spurs players. And once they get in the final third, they don't know what to do with it. And I think there was evidence of that with Archie Gray yesterday. Romero, I don't know what's going on with Romero at the moment, man. Because I thought he was there were some really good things with Romero, how he was able to step into the midfield areas and jump in front of his midfielder or attacker and win the ball back and start us on an attack. The way he bursts up the pitch and provides an option for us. I love all those things from Romero. But there's moments in the defence where he's just way too, don't know what the word is, lackadaisical probably, but too calm, and he just puts us under pressure. There was another moment where he just pretty much just plays a Sunderland player one-on-one with the keeper, and I'm just like, for a player that's our captain, for a player that's had the experience that he's had, this should not be happening as regular as it happens with Cuti Romero. And I don't know what's going on.
It's reminding me of late-stage Conte Romero. Very much reminded me of that, where when we were at our best under Conte, he was like flying, he was brilliant. But there was that stage late in Conte's tenure where I remember he got sent off against Milan. He just seemed to be getting loads and loads of cards and making mistakes and just didn't seem himself. And he cut an unhappy figure. Now this season he started brilliantly and he was he looked very on it. He was, pocketed Haaland at the beginning of the season and had a brilliant performance against PSG. And it was going well for him, but that was off the back of what was, I know in the league it wasn't strong, but off the back of what was a strong ending to the last season, where he was brilliant in those Europa League games and won Europa League Player of the Tournament. So, that was what we know Romero's capable of. But lately, definitely in the last month or so, these mistakes are consistent now. They're happening every game. You can't excuse them. He's consistently underperforming. Something seems off with him. He doesn't cut a very happy figure. I actually saw him. He was having a little chat with Frank after the game. I don't know what was being said, but while they were going off the pitch, look, they seemed to be having just an honest conversation. It wasn't anything about being angry or anything. But I do wonder about where his head is at, because we all know when Romero's head's not right, it could definitely influence his performances. We've seen that before. And I wonder if there's an element to that right now of Romero where I don't know, obviously he's been given the captaincy and he committed his future to Tottenham in the summer by signing that long contract. Is there an element to him now starting to regret that decision?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, but that is not what you need from a captain. He's the captain of this football club, and what you need from a captain is steady hands, stable hands.
I think he was given promises, I reckon, from the board and all this kind of stuff because obviously we know he had a great relationship with Ange, and they got on really well. And he did that statement when Frank was appointed, blah blah blah, and obviously everyone was convinced in the summer he was leaving. And everyone was shocked to learn that he signed the contract and he was given the captaincy, and everyone was like, okay, he's committing his future here. But I think to do that, you must have been given some sort of assurances, because we know publicly Romero has complained about either the signings of the club or the direction of the club and how we act as a club compared to some of the bigger teams. Now this season, Frank's come in. Obviously, when we start the season, it looked like, okay, maybe this is a good approach. I think we saw Romero bang on it, and we were performing well. But maybe as the season's gone on, as results have dipped and the play style has really taken a nosedive, has he looked at the bigger picture again and thought, why did I think things were going to change here? Things are just exactly as they were. I've got all these promises from the ENIC 2.0 and the new leader, the new owners, and all this kind of stuff. And have I been sold a bunch of lies? Is that sort of going through his head? And I get that you don't need it. We don't want that from our captain, but is it only natural when you've got a player like Romero who's wears his heart on his sleeve, doesn't he?
Yeah.
What do we do about it?
I don't think that should run as an excuse of a player that's a captain of a football club. He needs to rise above that and keep his performance levels and inspire people around him. You look at his partner in Mickey van der Ven, he keeps up his levels week in, week out, no matter what the situation is around him. And that's what we need from our captain. We need him to inspire everyone around us. And if he keeps making mistakes the way he is, he's not doing that. He's putting us under more pressure than we're already in. And in terms of promises from ENIC 2.0 and all that kind of stuff, I mean, the transfer business that we did in the summer, we brought in Kudus, we brought in Javi, we brought in Kolo Muani. We brought in players that should have matched that kind of ambition. Maybe you can argue that we didn't bring enough in, which is fair enough because there are still massive holes in the squad. But in terms of moving forward, he signed the contract whilst Frank was already in the club. So I don't know what more, where this has come from, because he should have seen everything with his eyes wide open when the season started anyway.
It's hard to know how things are going to play out. At the start, obviously, you can only predict, but things have not played out as well as we would hoped, have they? Mm-hmm. And as we've said before, he did have a good relationship with Ange, and he liked Ange. So I'm not saying he wants Ange back. I'm just saying, is it the same with Frank? Does he think Frank's the guy? Is that subconsciously playing on his mind? Look, all that to say, what do we do about this situation? Do we drop him? Because we could do. Danso played quite well in the last game. What message does that send out, dropping your captain? But we could well do that. I don't know if Frank has the balls to do that, but we could do that. It
sends a message saying if you're not up to the required levels, then you're not going to carry on in the team. And I think it's the right message to have, Why, if a player keeps underperforming game in, game out, then why not?
But it just becomes a story, like Salah being dropped and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so are we not going to make the hard decisions because it comes as a story in the press, or are we going to do something for the best of the team?
I mean, we all know, but we all can accept that Romero's a better player than Danso.
Much better, but he's not playing that better than Danso right now.
I mean, on the ball, he probably still is. And
Yeah.
what we lose on the ball, is that too great?
I mean, look, I'm not saying keep him out of the team for a sustained amount of time, but maybe one game off, one game out. You know what I mean? And I think when Romero did have that game out and Danso played at centre-back with Van de Ven, I don't think we lost too much defensively. I think we were pretty good that game, from a defensive capability.
Against Palace, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't have a problem at all with dropping Romero for this one game against Bournemouth. Hopefully it kicks him up the arse and kicks him into gear. But who knows? Like someone with Romero's character, it could probably confirm more in his mind that he wants to leave. But at the end of the day, if he keeps making mistakes like this week in, week out, would you even have a problem taking 60, 70 million for someone like Romero? I don't think I would if he keeps making these mistakes.
I would. Because the problem, I don't think he's the problem.
Well, he is the problem he's a problem if he keeps making these mistakes. Not the problem, but a problem.
Well, I think you need someone who can get the best out of him. Because we'll be it would be stupid to let him go. We're not getting better than Romero.
No, I get that. We're not getting better than Romero. We might get someone more consistent than Romero, though.
Doesn't for me, what you get with Romero outweighs what you lose with him.
I don't even know if that's true, because since Romero's come here, has he ever consistently been that player? He's had moments, don't get me wrong, the Europa League run and everything like that, but has he actually ever performed to us on a consistent basis that we know of the quality of the player?
Yeah, I think there's been times. I think his first season had a poor start, get used to leave, but once Conte came in, he was brilliant. Second season, no. Third season, and just first season, I think didn't get our player of the year. He was brilliant, wasn't he? Or maybe second to Van de Ven.
Van de Ven got it, yeah.
But he was consistent that year. I know he got sent off in that Chelsea game, but apart from that, he was brilliant. Last season, I thought when he played, he was good, but he was obviously injured a lot of that season. But when he played, I don't remember him being bad. He had some bad moments. I remember that Wolves game; he was awful. But I think I
think he was poor last season, man.
He wasn't.
He was great in the Europa League.
No,
but in the Premier League second half of the season, I thought he was really poor.
He barely played.
Well, when he did play, he stepped in and he didn't care.
Against Wolves, yeah, in that maybe one or two games. I think in general he was good. I think in general he played well. And in the Europa League, he got Europa League Player of the Year, so he was very good. And then this season, started off brilliantly, but in the last month or so, it's gone wrong for him. But I think, for me, in terms of what he offers you and what you get with Romero, I think the good outweighs the bad, and I think he is a brilliant defender, brilliant player in my opinion. I think we'd be so stupid to let him go because, I know he's not playing well at the moment, but we need him. We need some. If we're going to be back at the top, we need players like Romero. It's my point.
I'm not sitting here and saying that we need to sell Romero to kick on, but I'm just saying if a big bid comes in, I don't know if I'd be against selling him because I don't even know if his heart's in it at Tottenham. That's the reality.
Signed a deal. He wouldn't.
I know he's just signed a deal, but he's also said he wants to play in Spain, and we all thought he was 100% leaving. You're saying as well. Is he questioning everything around him? And it's fair to question everything. Everyone's questioning things around him, but I can't see the club progressing as fast enough as he needs it to. So is his heart ever going to be in it?
That's a club problem, not him.
Yeah, but he's here, and whilst this situation we're under, is his heart going to be in it?
We should accept. So we should just accept that we're never going to be good enough for him and just sell him.
Not never, but if we're not good enough, and he keeps putting in these, if we're not ever going to be good enough while he's here, he's going to keep putting in these performances. So what is the point?
So we should get a worse player instead.
A more consistent player. Look at Mickey van der Ven next to him. He probably looks around him and being like, what the hell is going on? But his performance levels don't drop. Mm-hmm. So why are we accepting it with Kuti?
Because he's our captain.
Yeah, but why is he our captain? If this is the feeling that he has?
Because he's the leader in the group.
But a leader in the group doesn't act like this or play like this.
I don't think he's doing it on purpose. It's not like he made that back pass on purpose because he doesn't,
So why does it keep
subconscious.
happening? I know it's not on purpose. I'm not saying he's going out there and sabotaging the team on purpose. But why does this keep happening? And is that what you need from your captain?
That's maybe not, but that's the kind of player he is.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe he shouldn't
It's
be the
not
captain.
it's not the player we need right now. Then we need
So what
more
we need
stable
is,
hands.
Let's get Craig Dawson in. He's more consistent.
Yeah, that's exactly what we need.
That's what we need.
Like, wow.
Mr. Consistent.
Like, there's no point being silly about it, saying we need Craig Dawson, but get a player that can be consistent. That's all I'm asking for.
Consistently what, though?
Consistently good.
They're not easy to come by.
No, but we got Mickey van der Ven, and he's consistently good.
Yeah. He's also had some bad
So
games
you're telling me there's
recently.
no
He's also had some
defender
bad
that we
games
can
recently.
sign that's consistently good?
He's also had some bad games recently.
Nowhere near as much as Romero. He doesn't make the glaring, stupid mistakes that Romero's making week in, week out right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but for me, I understand that. But I think, for me, as much as he's making those mistakes recently, once you get his mind right and once you get the best out of him, he's the best there is. You're not going to get better than him. So that's your job. Your job isn't to say, you made those mistakes, let's kick you out of the team, let's sell you. Let's get your mind right. Let's get you right. That's my point. Let's get you into a project that is going somewhere because you're a winner. We know that. When, how well he plays in finals, when it's big games. Like, he is suited to those environments. Right now, we're going nowhere. Right now, we're barely creating a chance. He's having to go up front for half the games nowadays because we're not doing anything. He's had to force the issue himself. So it doesn't surprise me that these stupid things start happening, but it's not down to him being a bad player or he has a bad mentality. That's due to what's happening right now at the football club and the environment. And to say we don't need these kind of players, we need him. We need a winner. That's what we need. 100%. And if because we're shit and he's putting in some bad performances and thing, yes, I'd love it that it doesn't matter how shit we are, he keeps his standards. I would love that, but he wears his heart on his sleeve, and it's hard for him to do that clearly when he can see things going wrong. We need things to go right, is my point, and it's not all down to Romero why things are going wrong.
No,
but
he's not helping things. That's the reality.
He's not anywhere near the main problem. Like when it comes to the list of problems,
I agree. I totally agree with that.
He is. If there's 100 problems, he's number 99.
I agree with that. I completely agree with that. Like I said, I'm not sitting here saying sell Kuti now. He's the biggest problem at this football club. I'm just saying if these mistakes keep happening and a big bid comes in, I wouldn't be against it. I wouldn't be totally for it. I'll be upset to lose him. I think I agree with you in terms of I think he's a top quality centre back, but I don't think he's performed at the levels that we know he can reach since joining Tottenham Hotspur. Like, you look at the players that we had, like Ledley King, you know what I mean? Ledley King was 1 in a million, but Ledley King played in some god-awful teams. You know what I mean? He never made consistent mistakes like this, or we never once thought about moving Ledley King on or removing the captaincy from him or anything like that. He played in probably just as bad teams as what Romero's playing in right now. So he needs to get better consistently, and he needs to, wake up and remove these kind of stupid behaviours from his game. That's the reality, because he's the captain of this football club, and he needs to hold himself to a higher standard than what he's doing so right now.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
But look, moving back onto the game, the second half comes, and I said to Brian at half time, like, we had to get that second goal whilst we're on top. Otherwise, we're running the risk here. And second half, we retreated. And you talk about Sunderland not scoring many goals away from home, and they're still able to pull a move together like they pulled off for that second goal. And that was an unbelievable touch and go, one-touch passing, movement. It was fantastic. They bamboozled us with that move, and it was an unbelievable finish. And that is something that Sunderland are capable of, and Spurs are not. We're not capable of a move like that, playing the way we're playing.
Yeah, and we were... Obviously, we had chances on the counter yesterday to just kill the game off, but either the quality in the final pass was missing or the quality in the final finish or touch was missing, and it ended up being a case of we were just sitting back, drawing more and more kind of pressure onto us, giving Sunderland more and more encouragement. And I think it showed, really. If we were a bit more adventurous in how we attacked in that second half, instead of relying on a few counter-attacks, we could have killed that game off, I think, because I don't think we found it too hard to create the openings. But in the end, it was just too far between. I think we were talking about maybe one or two moments in that second half we could have killed it off. And look, we should have probably taken one of them. And you can say, I definitely put it down to the players why we, in those moments, we didn't kill the game off. But I also think it was definitely a lot down to the approach of how penned back we were and how we were just giving Sunderland more and more encouragement as the game wore on. And I'm looking at how we set up when we're off the ball, and it is so defensive. Like, sometimes you have Richarlison in the defensive midfield area, when we do win the ball back, we've got no outlet. There's no one up front. You can, even if you want to go long or have a quick counter attack. I don't know if you saw yesterday. Look at the goal. Did you see Brentford's goals yesterday?
I saw one or two. I didn't see them all.
So in the last goal they scored, Everton are trying to get the goal. They're trying to get back in the game. Thiago's just there on the halfway line, like ready and waiting for a counter. Everton have a chance. They Brentford win the ball back, and Nathan Collins with one pass plays Thiago through on goal straight, right near the end of the game, and he's through on goal and they score. Because we don't have that player waiting on the halfway line, we can't do that. It's like we're way too deep. He needs to allow someone to be stood up the pitch so that we have an outlet and a quick counter if we do win the ball back. And it just seems that every time we're penned in and we can't get out because we don't have an outlet, and that is so frustrating to watch. It's why we don't really score many counter-attacking goals. It's because we're so deep in our own half, so obsessed with having to block every kind of area within the penalty box that we don't think about what we do when we get the ball back. And that's what leads to a situation like yesterday where we're being penned in, no outlet, no threat going the other way. And then eventually, even a team like Sunderland, who don't score that many goals, will probably find a moment. And that's exactly what they did. And it's a negative mindset, and it was really frustrating to watch. And he made some of the subs, but I thought Scarlett could have come on earlier because Richarlison was absolutely dead on his feet, it seemed, early on. He could have been brought on. I think Bergvall should have maybe come on and instead of Gray and played in the double pivot rather than playing further forward. But he doesn't seem to want to play him there. He only wants to play him in the 10. I understand there's a lack of options.
By the way, did you see that comment in the press conference? You asked about the like-for-like changes, and Frank goes, "Oh yeah, you see a team like, I think it was talking about Arsenal, he's like, they're able to bring on like-for-like players," and he was saying, "Well, I brought on a like-for-like player, Lucas Bergvall for Wilson Odebear," and I'm like, what?
It's so different.
I was like, what are you talking about? Wilson Odebear for Lucas Bergvall, like-for-like. One's a winger and one's an 8. How are they like-for-like?
I know, I read that and I just cringed. I'm like, what are you talking about? You're really not helping yourself at all. So, yeah, I mean, I was at a loss with us. And then the problem was, once they scored, we then have Bentancur and Paulinho on the pitch as our double pivot again. And then we have no way of basically going forward and no way of progressing the ball because they can't progress the ball. So, self-fulfilling prophecy. I guess I have a bit of sympathy in the sense that when it comes to the attacking options, he didn't have too much to change it. Kuda's already gotten injured. Johnson's been sold. So what we had on the pitch is kind of what we had, and he had to do with what he got, to be honest. So I kind of feel for him in a sense. But still, I think the way we went about that second half was awful, to be honest.
Completely agree. And I feel like decision-making in the final third is a massive problem for us as well. As much as the tactics are the biggest problem, I think decision-making and the quality of the personnel that we have in the forward line. I mean, just how many times do we have the ball in actually promising positions and it just breaks down with poor passing or poor choice of a pass? There was one moment, isn't it? João Palhinha had the ball and it looked so promising. He had Lucas Bergvall completely free on the left-hand side, and he decides to try and chip the ball in to Richarlison, who had like 2 or 3 men around him. And I'm like, why? Like, why? Like, he's got Dan Ballard on him. Like, Ballard's like some 6'5" unit, and some other players were there as well. And I'm like, Bergvall is completely free on the left-hand side. Why are you not choosing that option? And it's just like, this happens consistently, time and time again, and it's so frustrating. And
I would argue, I agree, but I'd argue that boils down to, first of all, a lot of the time, yesterday that was a big problem. We did get in a lot of promising positions and we screwed it up. But I'd argue over the course of the season, we haven't got into those promising positions anywhere near enough in a lot of games. Most games, it's been us barely getting into their half, let alone getting into promising positions, and that's because of the setup. Now, for me, I think you can't just say in this game, okay, we're going to go attacking today, and then expect to play front foot football, and then once we get in those positions, it's going to be like we've been playing it all season. That's an approach you have to go for consistently in every game, so players perfect it, players get used to it, players get into a rhythm. So when you get into those passing opportunities, you get into those shooting opportunities, it's not like this is the first time you've been in that opportunity all season. It's like you've been in this situation 5, 6, 7, 10, 11, 20, 30, 50 times. And then you know what decision to make. You know the right decision to make, and it becomes second nature. You're not thinking yourself. I think at the moment we're getting into these positions, and we're kind of doubting ourselves, and we don't have the quality. And also, when those decisions go wrong, it's almost as if it's even worse because we don't get in those positions often. So you don't know the next time you're going to get in those positions. So it makes it even more frustrating for the players and probably for the coach. That when something screws up, it's like a double frustration. So for me, that all boils down to the approach we've been going through this season. I know it's very easy to point to yesterday and say, look at that pass. If he would have just made it right, we would have won the game. That's down to the players, not to Frank. But I think for me, the bigger picture is that comes down to the approach, because we have overall, because we have not been in those situations anywhere near enough this season, and the players haven't found themselves in those situations at all this season. So for me, if we were playing that approach, instead of that situation yesterday where he's squares up the defender and he has a shot and it goes just wide, right? If that was maybe the 20th time he had done that this season rather than the second, maybe that bends into the corner rather than goes just wide. You know what I mean? Players need to be practicing this approach constantly. And for me, from what I've seen from us this season, we've done it once against Brentford, and we did it for 45 minutes against Sunderland, maybe 45 minutes against Brighton. Other than that, it's very seldom we see Tottenham playing this front foot football. And so, as much as players have to take responsibility, I think a lot of it boils down to how little we get in those situations for me.
Yeah, and look, I can see that, and I think that's definitely a valid point, and the manager has to take a lot of blame in terms of, well, the majority of it. I would say, if I'm trying to put a slice on the blame in terms of player quality to Thomas Frank's setup, I would say it's a very high percentage on Thomas Frank. Don't get me wrong, but there were just some moments yesterday where it was just like common, just you got to make the right pass. It's like, it's obvious. It's completely obvious. Like, if you're a professional footballer, obviously you pass it to the man that's free on the left instead of the man that's got 3 men on him, including a 6'5" monster. Like, that's just obvious, man.
Mm-hmm. There are some decisions, they have to take responsibility.
So that's that. Look, I want to give a massive big up to Ben Davies yesterday. Massive, because Ben Davies came in. When the team sheet was read out, everyone was like, oh, God, Ben Davies at left back, Ben Davies this, Ben Davies that. I was one of them. You were probably one of them. I think there wasn't a Spurs fan out there that was saying it's a good decision to put Ben Davies in, but he was our best player yesterday.
Yeah, he played well.
He was really our best player. I thought defensively, he handled his side really well, got our goal. He had a chance as well with the header, which was a shot on target. I think he didn't put a foot wrong really yesterday, Ben Davies. So I just want to say a massive big up to him.
Yeah, I think he came in, didn't really put a foot wrong. Had a shot clear off the line, scored his goal, got a song made for him as well. Is that his first song he's had?
Probably, yeah.
It's taken a while. It is mad to think, if I told you in 2016 Ben Davies would score our first goal of 2026,
I know.
10 years later, you would have said I'm crazy, but here we are. But yeah, fair play to him. Actually had a good game. So
Yeah.
Not gonna. Yeah, I don't think he was like spectacular, but he had a fine game.
Yeah. I thought he was our man of the match, to be honest.
Probably more says about us than him, I would say.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, but that's where we're at. And Porro as well. Like Porro, I thought he was fantastic in the first half, and then second half he let that kind of bad passing creep back into his game, didn't he? That we've seen over the last couple of weeks. But look, I guess some positives to take from yesterday, but all in all, it carries on the negative feeling at Spurs because we just can't get another win, and the second half just highlighted for me that Frank just ain't the guy, to be honest. And when you're looking at the stats, haven't scored from open play in 10 hours of football. 10 hours of football. That's 6 games. You haven't scored in open play since the first half against Brentford at home.
Wow.
So...
And even that goal was Xavi had to run half the pitch to score, you know what I mean? It wasn't exactly like a team goal or something.
Yeah, we scored 2 from open play that day, didn't we?
We scored 2 from open play. Yeah, first one was a good team goal.
Yeah, because Porro gets it down the line, Xavi gets it in, and it was great. But look, since then we haven't scored from open play, which is nowhere near good enough. It is shocking, to be honest, really shocking. And I, for one, who was a big backer of Thomas Frank, who I don't know why I like repeating, but I keep repeating it. And now I'm just so like, if he was sacked tonight, I wouldn't care. If we give it till the end of the season, I don't really care either. I'm just like, yeah, whatever. It is what it is.
And the problem is all these clubs sacking managers at the moment. You've got United, you've got Chelsea. Apparently Slot, is Slot under pressure as well. We've got so many players... so many clubs, bigger clubs than us, above us, sacking their managers. It's interesting to see where that leaves us in terms of if we were to sack him, do we have to challenge them for a manager? That's been the main problem is who do we bring in if Frank was to go? I think there's, again, a lot of trepidation about the current available managers and the managers who... in the Premier League right now who are gettable, whether it translates to Tottenham. But I, for one, am absolutely sick to death of this football. I'm sick to death of the way we're playing. I don't know how much more I could watch of it. I'm just so apathetic to it. We've actually, and because the league's so tight, there is still that, okay, if we win this game, we can get here, but, we keep letting go of these opportunities. Why? Of course we are, because we're not playing well. We're just not playing good football, and we're not playing well in games. But it's just more I can't even enjoy the goals that we do score. They're just horrible goals. It's like, I was thinking about it yesterday, it's like we scored that goal in Bilbao, and the football gods decided we will give you that win with a horrible goal in Bilbao in exchange for a whole season of horrible goals.
Would you take it?
What?
Would you change it?
Would I change it? No.
So shut up then.
So that's what we have to contend with, though. That's what I've got to contend with. Like,
if you would change it, then shut up then.
The goals we've scored, the last 2, we've scored what, 2 goals in the last 5 games? Is it?
Yeah.
2 goals in the last 5 games. Those goals have been Gray's header, which had 3 touches in the box, and there was Ben Davis's goal from a corner, which was bundled home. That's all we can manage, all we can muster. And it's not even like we're playing like the hardest teams as well, like recently. It's like it's not even been that difficult a run. And we're losing 3-0 to Forest, who have lost 5 of their 6 games. The only one they've lost to is us. Their beat is us 3-0.
It's the history of the Tottenham, mate. How many times have we read out that stat with imprint the team's name there?
It is just...
Didn't we lose to Leicester last season and they had like 10 losses before and after? It was like ridiculous.
Something like that. It's just so difficult at the moment to kind of know what to want. I think everyone can agree, most people now can agree, Frank, there's not real... The only reason to stick with him is because there's not a better option. There's actually no real reason to stick with him at this point in terms of what we're seeing and what he's offering. There's no real anything to look at and say, yeah, he's doing this well and, whatever. Although you would, if you're being frank, you'd maybe say defensively in the last few games we've been better, which is probably true. I'd have to agree with that. But I don't really care about that too much as that's a good thing. It's not why I watch football, to watch us keep clean sheets. I don't really care. We can keep all the clean sheets we want. If we're not able to open teams up and score goals and play good football, then that's what I care about more, unless we're winning every game, which we're not. Like, unless it's getting such good results that I'm just willing to go with it for, to get where we want to be or to do something special. Unless we're doing that, I really don't care for this kind of football whatsoever. He's not getting anywhere near the best out of any of our forward players. Our forward players, people say, oh, the quality's the quality, look how bad our players are. I mean, just look at the pitch and watch the games. When Kudus gets the ball, he's literally got 3 players around him with no player within 20 yards. And what do you want him to do? So are we saying, every player has to be Messi in the forward line for this football to work? It's crazy to think it's just the players that are the reason why Frank is underperforming. Frank himself is playing into this by constantly bringing up, oh, we've got key attacking players missing. Oh, it's the players that it's the attacking players that are missing. That's why we're not able to click going forward. I'm sorry, that is just such a pathetic excuse. If he's using that excuse as a manager when he's had such expensive signings, internationals in his forward line, who I'm sure at Brentford he would kill to have. I'm sure he'd love to have those players at Brentford, right? So all of a sudden he's using these players as an excuse why we can't have create chances and have shots on target. I'm sorry, it's a pathetic excuse. And look, to be fair to him,
some of the players you'd like to have at Brentford, I wonder about all of them.
I'm sure. Would he have signed Kudus at Brentford? Would he sign Xavi at Brentford? Would he sign Moani at Brentford? All of them, yes. All of them he would have signed at Brentford. Even if maybe not all to start, but I would argue he would. But he would have definitely had them. He would have jumped at the chance of signing them at Brentford. 100%.
What about Odegaard, Tell? And everyone else that we got in the forward line.
Odegaard and Tell, I'm sure he would have signed at Brentford as well.
I think Sade is better than both of them.
So he still would have signed them. He
would have signed them, but he wouldn't start them.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but
he's starting them at Spurs.
Okay, but he's still Sade's more output than them, but I'm sure he would have loved these players.
And Igor Thiago as well. He signed him for Brentford. Obviously, he was injured all of last season, but he planned to use him, and you can see what he's doing now. He's better than any of our strikers. Output.
Because of how we're playing, in my opinion. Anyway, my point being is he's got players there that are capable of creating chances, scoring goals, getting assists for other teams, yet they come to Tottenham and we're struggling to do that as a team. And I think that is down to the approach. It's not down to the quality of players. They're capable of so much more than what we're seeing at the moment.
I agree.
We haven't even touched the tip of the iceberg of what all these players are capable of. And he has to take responsibility for that instead of making excuses and saying it's because we have key players out. It's got nothing to do with that. It's got nothing to do with what got key players out. We've got key players out. That's probably why we're not one of the best attacking teams in the league. That's true. But why we're 17th for open play, expected goals and chances created, right? That has nothing to do with us having key players out. That is because of how we are set up and how he is utilising these players and how he's profiling these players. And I'm sick to death of him using these excuses. I really am. I'm done with them. I'm done with him trying to say that's the reason. At the beginning of the season, yeah. First of all, we knew these players were going to be out, but at the beginning of the season, he says, "Oh, we're just building layers to the attack. We're just, first we lay the foundation of the defence, and then, bit by bit we build layers to the attack." So he's implying, oh, there's a process here. Once we get this done, and once we start, going through the pitch or whatever, I don't know what he's even trying to say, but he's kind of implying there's a process to be done. Bit by bit, we're going to add layers to this attack. I'm going to start playing attacking football. We're now 6 months gone down there, right down the line of that, and now he's saying, oh, it's because we have key players out. So at the beginning we weren't laying foundations. Were we not building it a bit brick by brick? Was it not a process? From the beginning of the season, had he already accepted that we're going to be shit attacking for 6 months because we've got these players out, which he knew from pre-season they were going to be out? Is that what now we're believing?
Look, all you need to do is look up bloody Leeds. Would you take any of the Leeds forward line in our team?
No, absolutely not.
So how the hell are they creating more than us on a consistent basis, game by game?
Mm-hmm.
How? That's all you need to say. It's simple that he's not getting anywhere close to anywhere near the max levels of this forward line. So, and also defensively as well. Yeah, we've been a bit better in recent weeks, but the story of the season doesn't suggest that we've been unbelievable defensively. If he's been focusing on that a lot, so far in the first 6 months in the job, I think he's doing a horrible job as manager at this football club. But there's no end in sight. Where do we turn? That's the big problem here. I think if Levy was still at the football club, I think he would have been gone 2 months ago. But this is a whole new way of doing things. It looks like they're trying to put their faith in the man that they've appointed. So we're in this mess for a while now. I don't think there's any quick fix to it. I don't think they're going to sack him anytime soon.
I agree.
And you're looking at it. We're told that we're supposed to be going big in this transfer window. How are we going to go big in this transfer window when it's such a mess at this football club? Is anyone going to join under Thomas Frank right now, seeing the way we're playing football? Probably not. Not of the quality that we need. Is anyone going to join if we sack him and we have no manager? So where do we go from here? Like, seriously, where do we go? We don't go anywhere. We're going to stay on this path, and they're just going to hope and pray it gets better from now to the end of the season so they can see something and keep him. Or if it stays the same, they sack him at the end of the season and hope for Pochettino or someone else to come in and take the realms. That's it.
Yeah, but that's fine. But at the end of the day, for me, there isn't going to be any saviours in January. We're not going to... There's no one coming in, swooping in to save the day. Again, we might get some signings, but it's not going to be game-changing signings. And I don't think in the forward line, he's going to get players who are much, much better than what we have. Maybe one if we're lucky, but I don't think it's going to be we're going to revolutionise our forward line in this window. So he has to make do with what he has, and he's got to get us playing a lot better than what he's doing, and he's got to trust them more. Why is it taking until 6 months to get Tell a start on the left-hand side? Why is it taking until January? Why is he playing Bergvall on the left-hand side? Tell comes in one game. Look how much better we played, especially in our first 45 minutes. Look, against Brentford, he plays Paulinho, Bentancur, Gray together in midfield three. He changed it in this game. Look how much better it was. Look how much more intensity. And I know we didn't create too many more chances, but how much more the intent was there. And we looked much more like winning the game than we did. It looks like we even tried to win the game. The other games, it doesn't even look like it. But why is it taking him this long to do that? And are we going to keep seeing that? Or because we didn't win this game, is he going to change it up again? There are so many things he could be doing with the current players that we have. And instead, he's kind of run Kudus into the ground. And now he's injured. Tell and Odegaard have pretty much, especially Tell, I would say, has wasted a lot of his time in these few months. Where he could have been playing regularly on that left-hand side, in my opinion. He had given a run of games. Why have we not given him a run of games on that left-hand side? I don't get it. Whenever he's played in recent weeks, he's looked bright. He's looked good. He scored against United. He came on against Slavia. Looked quite good. He's actually looked decent when given a little time. Why has he not been getting more of a run? Wilson Odegaard was looking good, then had one bad game and was out for like the next 5 games in exchange for having Moani on the left wing. Like, he's every step of the way in this forward line, he's mismanaged it. And then he complains. And then he complains about not having top quality players. Well, you're not doing anywhere near with what you got. You've got some quality there. Use it. Get the best out of it instead of just complaining about the lack of quality in your forward line when you've got players that have played in the Champions League, played at European tournaments, played very well for other clubs, and now you're sitting here complaining about how rubbish they are. Everyone in the comments keeps telling me, but you gave Ange, you let Ange off the hook. It was a different situation. I don't know how you can compare Archie Gray, Ben Davis, and Forster in your back line, right?
How long was that for?
A while, like 2-3 months.
Was it that long?
Yeah, Archie Gray played 19 games in centre-back pretty much. Well,
there's quite a few at right-back and left-back, no?
He barely played in the Premier League at right-back, left-back. He played a few in Europa League. He played 19 games in the Premier League, pretty much all of them at centre-back.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple near the end at centre-mid.
Yeah. Look, we're just in a mess. We're just in an absolute mess, and I don't see an end in sight. And that's the biggest problem. Like I keep saying, and I've said it over the last couple of weeks, there's nothing we can do right now apart from grin and bear it and pray that it gets better. But I just can't see it getting better. I think we're in this situation till, at the very minimum, the end of the season.
Fantastic.
So enjoy the ride, people.
Depressing thought.
That's where we're at.
I'll get Xavi in. Just do it. Just do something. I want to change. I really want to change. I'm sick of it. Get Maresca. Get Xavi. Do something.
Look, I wouldn't be totally against it, but like I said before, I don't care if he's sacked tonight. I don't care if he keeps his job till the end of the season. I just don't care anymore, to be honest. And that's worrying coming from me. That is worrying. But
when the fan base gets like how we are now, we see ticket sales are down. That's going to start affecting them. And then when that starts happening, that's when Levy anyway would make a change.
Levy would have made a change months ago. This ticket sales thing is not a new thing that's just happened last week. This has been happening for months now. So Levy would have made a change a month ago at the very minimum.
They've got to do something to get everyone back watching Spurs again and caring about it, because everyone doesn't care at the moment.
Yeah.
Everyone's sick to death of what's happening on the pitch, and we're just bored of it in a sense because it's happening so often. So they have to kind of make a change. And there's still time to save the season if they were to make a change.
Yeah.
There's still time.
Yeah, there is still time. You know, the league is so congested and so compact, and if we don't pick up points from now until the end of January, then it becomes a real issue, because not only will the league start to get less congested, but look at the games we got coming up in February. We've got Man City, Man United after Amrin, we've got Arsenal, we've got Newcastle as well. Like, we ain't winning any of those games in our current state.
Mm-hmm.
So these are the games where we need to pick up the points in. Yesterday was massive in terms of that. You know, we've got Bournemouth midweek, haven't won a game for God knows how long, 10 games I think it is. You know, that's a key game that we can pick up points in. After that, we got West Ham and Burnley, who both can't buy a win. You know, we need 6 points in those 2 games if we're going to have any ambitions of a European spot, or even just a top half spot in the Premier League. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And if we keep this inconsistent run over these next 3 or 4 games, we can kiss top half goodbye, I'm telling you. Because it will come to the end of February, we still haven't won a game, and then you're looking at March, April, May to save our season, and it'll probably be a little too late by then.
Well, we 2 wins in 11.
Yeah.
And those wins were Palace, which was unconvincing, and
Brentford,
which was convincing.
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
Brentford and Man City are probably the only 2 games which you can look at and being like, I was totally convinced with those games. And totally happy with those games. Not convinced, happy.
Well, according to Frank, we should have 8 more.
Yeah.
8 more to go in the second half of the season.
Oh, God. Well, that is the long-winded match review / Frank review. A Frank review of Frank. And let's move on to player ratings from the game yesterday. Obviously, 1-1 against Sunderland. We're going to start off with Guillermo Vicario. 6s all round for Vicario, pretty much untested. I think he made 1 save in the game, pretty much a routine one.
Yeah, that was for the cameras, wasn't it? That save at the end. He made it look like a big save, and I looked, so I was like, he could have caught that, couldn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, look, the goal, I don't think he could do anything with that goal. It's just an unbelievable finish from Brobby. Yeah, it was a quiet day for Vicario.
Yeah, he didn't have too many saves to make. Apart from that one, he made 1 Hollywood save for the cameras, which was quite an easy save. I think we actually did defend fairly well for the most part, albeit when Sunderland was starting to press us a bit, it was getting a bit difficult. But we never really gave up too many clear-cut chances. So, yeah, it's a pretty simple day for Vic.
Yeah, you guys gave him a 5.6. So
that's the fan rating, yeah.
Yeah, the fan rating was 5.6. So, yeah, just below what we've given him. Next up is Pedro Porro. Sim gives him a 5. I gave him a 6. I thought he performed really well in the first half. And looking at his first half display, if I was giving him a rating at half time, probably like a 7.5 or something. I thought it was really good, passing, dangerous with his crossing. Second half, and defensively, I thought he did really well as well. But second half, he was just really frustrating, man, letting those stupid passing, creeping back his game, kept giving the ball away, kept retreating, which was a team problem, and he suffered for it.
Yeah. I thought he was definitely getting a lot looser in that second half, getting a lot more sloppy. But I also think our approach doesn't help him. I think when he's in that forward final third and he's helping the attack and he's got options, he looks like such a different player. As soon as we're in this deep kind of mode where we don't have a lot of possession and he doesn't have too many options, he looks wasteful. But is he wasteful or is he lacking options? I don't know. You can make your own minds up. But he was much better in the first half, and the second half wasn't anywhere near as good.
Yeah. Kuti Romero up next. Sim gives him a 6. I gave him a 5. As you probably gather, I'm starting to get a bit frustrated with Kuti Romero. I feel that with Kuti, he does some really good things in the game in terms of being able to step in front, his ball playing ability, winning the ball back consistently in good areas. But these stupid mistakes keep creeping into his game. He made a couple of them yesterday. One of them very much highlighted where he pretty much just played the Sunderland player through on goal, and this can't keep happening, particularly from our captain. He needs to be the one that you look to as a calm head, the one that you can rely on, and at this moment in time, it doesn't seem that way.
Yeah, I thought in the first half he was excellent, actually, and some of the stuff he was doing really helping penning Sunderland in, and I thought he was doing really well. But second half, I thought first of all for the goal as well, it wasn't good. He let Robbie run the wrong side. He actually had him, and then lets Robbie run the wrong side of him, and obviously gives him a yard. He scores, and then, as you say, that moment where Robbie nearly went for on goal. I think Van de Ven had to bail him out, and he got away with that one. Plays that ball short for Vicario. So that was really sloppy as well, and obviously it's been happening quite often in recent games for Kuti Romero, and something he's got to cut out. But I thought in the first half he was excellent. I thought it was really good. But yeah.
All right, next up is Mickey Van de Ven. 7s all round for Mickey. And look, a player that always keeps up his standards, in my opinion, whether he's performing at his best level, in recent weeks is, a question to be had. Is he performing as good as he was a few weeks ago? Look, some would say yes, some would say no, but I think that he's just so important for us. That moment you're talking about when Van de Ven Romero makes a mistake, he's there to snuff it out. He's there to snuff out so many problems that Spurs have in the back line, and he's just someone that performs for us always above a 7 week in, week out.
Yeah, top performance. There was one in the first half, his brilliant sliding challenge, wasn't it? Where he came from nowhere, as he often does, and did this brilliant sliding challenge with his back heel and seemed to recover the ball from a situation that looked really dangerous. That was really impressive. It was just a solid performance. He just didn't put a foot wrong. Again, we were defensively quite sound for a lot of this game and didn't give them anything. He bailed Romero out late in the game as well. So pretty solid performance from Van, and got an assist for Davis's goal.
Yeah. Ben Davis, we didn't mention that Romero had a part to play in the goal, by the way. Yeah. Ben Davis, Sim gives him a 7. I gave him an 8. My man in the match. I thought he was fantastic yesterday. Got the goal, which was unbelievable to see. First goal in 2 years for Ben Davis. And, everyone questioned him being in the team. And I think he performed admirably well, defensively sound, impacted the game going forward. I liked his little link-up play with Matisse Tell on the left-hand side as well. Shot cleared off the line. I mean, he did everything yesterday, so big up to Ben.
He had a good performance, really good performance, and really happy for him because a lot of people worried about him being in the starting 11. He will have tougher tests if he is to play more regularly, but in terms of who he had to play in front of him, I thought he kept his winger quiet for a lot of the game. Didn't get too much, wasn't too adventurous, I think, going forward, but obviously he did get the goal, was in the right place, right time. It was actually a nice little finish because it was came very quickly. He had to react very quickly to get it in, so well done to him for that. And it was a solid performance.
The fans give him 7.5, so just right in between me and you.
Yeah.
Next up is Rodrigo Bentancur. Sim gives him a 6. I gave him an 8. I thought first half he was absolutely fantastic, man. Aggressive, driving us forward, the anticipation of winning the ball back. His pressing was fantastic. I thought everything in his game was absolutely spot on. I thought as the game wore on, he did kind of tire out the game. I thought he started the second half pretty well, but he did tire out of it. So, maybe a 7 was better on reflection, but the fans give him a 6, so same as you.
Same as me. The fans know what they're talking about. I thought he had a good game. I thought in the first half, as you say, I thought he was dominating. Him and Archie Gray were making sure that we've continually got our foot on Sunderland's necks and keeping the pressure on. But unfortunately, I did die down a bit in the second half. I thought Xhaka was growing more and more an influence in that second half as well. So, I gave him a 6, but he had a strong opening hour, I would say.
Yeah. Archie Gray up next. 6s all round for Archie. I thought Bentancur was better than Archie in my opinion. Archie did some nice things in terms of being able to drive the team forward in the first half, but I thought his final pass and end product really let him down on the day. Yeah,
I thought in the first half he was doing some really good stuff, like getting the ball driving into the space, opening up the pitch, and I thought that was quite good. And there was one pass that, still found Porro, and Porro, his cross nearly finds Richie at the back post. That was a good moment. And I thought Gray was doing some good stuff there. I don't think in the second half, again, he tired, and that's why he got taken off, and we needed more legs there. But I thought in general he was decent.
Mm-hmm. Fans give him a 5.5, so just under what we've given him. Mohamed Kudus up next. 5s all round for Kudus. Only lasted 15 minutes, I think it was, and didn't have really too much of an impact on proceedings. I thought it was pretty frustrating whenever he got the ball, to be honest, and fans giving him a 4.6. And he was only on 15 minutes.
Yeah, so you can't be too harsh on him, but I don't think he was great. Apparently, I've seen some suggestions he might have had a problem before the game, so whether that was playing on him during the game and obviously cost him in 15 minutes in. We'll see. Yeah,
it's probably a culmination of how many games and minutes he's actually played this season and not being able to rest him, even though we've been able to rest him, but we haven't rested him, and that's probably what's caused the muscle injury.
It's not just that, it's as well how we play.
Yeah.
It's all through Kudus. He's asked to run so much.
Yeah.
Well, beat these 3 players, Mo, go on.
Yeah.
And then he's expected to help out the fullback as well, so doing all that running as well.
Yeah.
Like, we overwork him crazy.
Yeah, 100%. Next up is Wilson Odebear. 6s all round for Wilson. Started in the 10, and I liked his energy and application. His pressing was, a key part of our play in the first half, and he kept winning the ball back in really key areas. The only problem with Wilson, I just don't think he had too much of an impact in terms of creating chances and actually money-making moves in the final third.
Yeah, it's classic Wilson, isn't it? Looks bright, but doesn't actually do much in terms of really hurting the opposition, and that's something he's just got to work on. Apparently, did you see this? I think it was Paul O'Keefe said there was a suggestion that at home he struggles more than away from home.
Yeah, we spoke about it
because of nerves, or he doesn't want to try as many things, and that's really hard to hear. And
it's sad.
It's really sad. I just hope that he gets over that. Obviously, all the fans support him, and I hope he shows that. But maybe we need to do a better job at home of making our players feel at home, if that's the case. But I thought he was decent. Again, I think he was okay in the 10. I don't really think he is a 10, but he was okay in that position. But should have done a bit more.
Yeah. Fans giving him a 6, so exactly the same as us. Matisse Tell up next. Him gives him a 6. I gave him a 7. I was, I don't think it was a worldie of a performance, but I thought he was probably our best attacker on the day. On the left-hand side, we all wanted to see him there, or, I've been wanting to see him there for a while, and, he added a lot of energy, a lot of desire, always an option on that left-hand side, decent link up with Ben Davies, like I mentioned before, consistently spamming in those crosses, taking shots from outside the box as well, which we've been desperate for. On another day, could have ended with a goal contribution, but look, he put in the corner. Didn't he, that we scored from. But I thought if anything was going to come from any of our attackers, it was going to come from him.
Yeah, he looked the most likely. I think he was the one consistently taking on his fullback, getting into good positions out wide, keeping the ball actually a lot better than he has been, and actually trying some shots and trying some efforts on goal. And I was quite pleased with what I saw. I think it was a step in the right direction him playing off the left-hand side. I just want to see him there more regularly, and I think the more he plays there, the better he'll get, in my opinion. He's just a guy that needs a run of games. He hasn't had a run of games in that position at all this season. So I really want to see that.
That probably means we're going to loan him out next week.
Yes.
But no, Matisse has got to start there against Bournemouth, surely.
6.4, so right in between the last two.
Richarlison, 5s all round for Richie. A bit of a frustrating display from him. There was that one moment, wasn't it, when Muani is at the back post, completely free, and you're just saying, put the ball in, and he delays, and obviously the cross hits the defender, first man. Spent a lot of time on the ground, as he always does. And look, a lot of our plan was just to hit the ball long to him, and sometimes he was successful, sometimes not. But actually, his best attribute in the game yesterday was his defending, because he won the ball so many times from crosses from Sunderland, and that was probably where he won most of his aerial duels. Yeah,
and I think I actually think for a lot of the game it wasn't awful. It was just, again, a lack of help from a lot of players. But I think the big moment was when he could have played in Moani and he delayed it and he ended up screwing it up. But I think his hold-up play wasn't terrible for a lot of it. I thought in the second half, a lot of our counters that worked out was due to Richarlison doing a good job as well, and getting us into their half. So that was good. But he nearly scored as well. If it wasn't for a slight touch from the Sunderland defender right at the beginning of the game, he could have got a goal. But unfortunately, we need more than that.
Yeah, 5.3 are the fans giving him, so just above what we've given. Now to the substitutes. João Palhinha, 5s all round for João. He had that header, didn't he, where could have done a bit better from, just went wide. Key moment in the game. If he would have scored that, obviously it would have been the winner. There was one moment that I just got so frustrated with that I spoke about before, but he tries to play this really good ball to Richarlison, who had 3 men around him, where Bergvall was completely free on the left-hand side to start an attack really late in the game when, not much time left. He's got to make the right decision. And, I think he just, last few games, or like in the last month, he's come on and made a real impact off the bench. I just don't think he made the same impact in this game, and, it just seemed a bit off the pace.
Yeah, I didn't think it was a great cameo from him, to be honest. I thought in terms of winning those duels as well, he's come on to shut the game down and it didn't really work. I thought they actually got better after he came on, and that was quite disappointing. On the ball, he was terrible. Nearly scored with a header right at the end, but put it just wide. I expect better from him.
And they've given, the fans have given him a 4.7, so not great for João Palhinha. Last player I think we're going to rate is Lucas Bergvall, who came on for Odebear, like-for-like change. 5s all round for Lucas. And, unfortunately, he couldn't have the same impact that Wilson Odebear was having. Just don't really think he did too much of note. I can't really remember too much.
I think he was...
The foul throw is all I remember.
Yeah, that foul throw was very noticeable. I think it just slipped out of his hand, and it just happens. I know you'll get clowned on for it, but that's just one of those things. I thought he did help a bit in terms of just carrying the ball a bit forward, a bit more progressively, but it wasn't hugely, unfortunately.
4.7 the fans have given him, so not great there for Lucas. Sorry, there is one more player, Kolo Muani, who came on in the 15th minute. 5s all round for Muani. And, I just thought he was a really frustrating watch yesterday, Muani. Lost the ball countless amount of times, and when it looked like he was onto a good thing, he would take a heavy touch and just hampered us more than he helped us, to be honest.
I think he tried things in terms of his dribbling. There was some good times where he was driving through the centre of the pitch, and that's when I thought he looked his most dangerous, but the final decision was awful, a lot, to be honest. And that counts against him. There's a few times that he could have been decisive, and his poor decision-making or poor quality cost us. Yeah,
I did feel for him, though, because, if he gets that ball at the back post for Richarlison and grabs the winner for us, then we're probably speaking about him in a bit of a different light today. But
or maybe he would have taken a touch like he did when Porro played it to him.
Yeah, you never know. But, it looked like he probably would have, he had he was completely free at the back post. But, the fans give him a 4.1. Not a great score for him. And finally, Thomas Frank. Sim gives him a 5. I gave him a 4. I was happy with the lineup, bar Ben Davis. I wasn't happy with Ben Davis, but he ended up being our best player, so shows what I know. But I think a lot of fans were feeling the same way about Thomas Frank, about Ben Davis starting. So I was happy with what we showed in the first half in terms of pressing high up the front, being aggressive, showing those fundamentals which we should show week in, week out. So at half time I was fairly happy. We were 1-0 up, with the dominance that we showed, probably should have been more. But I just was not happy with the way we managed the game after that. We looked so dominant in the first half. We were controlling the game, and then we'd retreated and gave control to Sunderland in that second half, and everyone could see it from a mile off. The goal was coming. We were probably lucky that we didn't lose the game in the end, because they had that chance right at the death and they didn't score it. But I think their second half performance, the way they dominated us and the way we retreated like cowards, we deserve what we got.
Yeah, and I think it's just a theme of what we've seen for so much of this season. I know the first half was better, but still, unfortunately we didn't have the ability to take advantage of the dominance that we had. I think for me, due to the fact that we don't play that way too often, so the players aren't so used to being in those positions as often as I would like, and they're not often on the front foot as often as I would like. And I think for me, we're trying to hang on to 1-0 for literally 45 minutes against this a Sunderland team who only scored 4 goals away from home this whole season. And we should be looking to really put the game to bed and then sit back. We were just pushed back. And we were looking to hit them on the counter, and all it took was one moment of quality for Sunderland to open us up and find the equaliser, and that's what happened. And I think Frank, for me, it's a consequence of how he's been getting us to set up too often this season. It's no surprise to me. You put all these attacking players together like we did in the first half, we look a lot better. But why has he not done that for a lot of the season? If we had done that consistently, then maybe when these games come around, we'll be in a bit of better situation. But he hasn't. He's gone in different directions, more pragmatic directions, always think about the opposition. And I think it cost us in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. So that is our player ratings from the 1-1 draw against Sunderland. Let us know your ratings in the comments section below. And that is that. Just take the super chats for a sec.
All right. Super chats. Where are we? Ever Trav says, this has shown Levy was best for the club. Levy in. Don't go there. Don't even go there. Brian Daigle has just got steam coming out of his ears. I don't think this shows that. Ian Frenchman says, whether Frank is the right person is a fair question. Constantly changing managers, bringing new training regimes, styles, tactics, which must confuse the players. I completely agree with that. But as I've said, we should have kept the manager in the summer. That would be my how I'd have diagnosed that problem. Not keep this manager who's never going to be what we want him to be. It's never going to work with him, in my opinion. He's so just concentrated on what the opposition can do. It's not the football I like to see. It's not, and it's clear that's what he offers. That's what he did at Brentford. Is what he's doing here. I don't think it's going to be a massive change once he gets players back or new players in. It might be better form of it, what we're seeing, but for me, this football doesn't interest me at all. I don't like it, and if you enjoy watching it, fair play to you, but I absolutely hate it, and I'm sick of it, and I want to change. Ian Frenchman again says, Arteta was given time, and now Arsenal are title challengers. We need continuity in management. Whether Frank is someone else, we must commit for at least 2 or 3 seasons. We are a sleeping giant. I agree with that, but we need to commit to the right guy. We need to make sure if we make a change, get that decision right. That's what we got to make sure, because whatever the process was to making the decision to hire Frank was flawed, massively flawed in my opinion. So what was the process? How can we improve that process going for the next manager? That's the big question. Alan Page says, why would any player of any note want to come? Great question.
That's what we keep asking ourselves.
Great question.
Is that it? Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
All right. And let's get into reacts, people. Let's see how the internet did react to the game yesterday. And it ain't going to be pretty, people. This ain't going to be pretty. Jack Doyle says, for all the talk of signing a winger, most players are going to struggle in these situations with no fullback overlapping and nobody to even play a 1-2 with here to work around and defence and create separation. Kudus is also suffering from this on the opposite side.
Yeah, and as well, you look at if Tell here, if he does get a yard and cross it in, who's he aiming at?
Yeah.
1 against 3 in there.
Yeah.
That's our point. Look, all these players are lined up on the edge of the box because he's worried about if the ball comes out, stopping a counter-attack. That's what Frank's worried about. And this is my point about it not being a quality issue, because how many times did Tell get a yard and get the ball in? He actually happened quite a few times. I don't know what the facts say about how many crosses he actually had. But I remember off the top of my head, at least that first half 2 or 3 times, he was able to get a yard and get a cross in. And yet he's not aiming at anyone. He's literally aiming at just Richarlison.
Yeah.
What can he do? Like, if your plan is gonna be get the ball out wide and get crosses in and spam crosses, then get players in the bloody box. Right?
Yeah.
Is it not just that simple?
It is that simple. But like so many of the issues that we have, it just seems like such simple fixes, doesn't it? And we just can't seem to get it right.
Crosses, he had 5 crosses yesterday. Tell 1 accurate.
Yeah.
But again, people say, "Oh, it's bad quality," but look at that.
Yeah, 100%.
What do you want him to do?
100%. Tottenham Independence transfer story. This is funny. Thomas, a decent point today in front of a hostile crowd. It's a tough place to come to, the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
Classic Miles. He always looking for the positives. Tough point. Tough point at home, Thomas.
This next one, next interview at the job centre.
Oh, God. It might well be. It might well be.
Jake Sanders says 4 wins from 24 Premier League games in the last 14 months for Tottenham, have failed to beat Fulham twice, Wolves twice, Bournemouth twice, Ipswich, Leicester, Nottingham Forest, Crystal Palace, Brighton and Sunderland in that time. Utterly unacceptable on every level. And yeah, that's 100%. You know, that's not all on Thomas Frank, but, you know, he's starting to build them up.
Well, it hasn't got better, has it?
No, not at all.
In Ange's last 6 months, he had 2 wins, and he's had, at the moment, 2 wins in 6 months.
No. But, you know, half of the year is accounted for Ange and half the year is accounted for Frank. They're pretty much level.
Yeah, 4 wins.
So it's ridiculous, really. I've never known us ever to be this bad at home. Like, even like in our terrible days, you know what I mean? Like, we always used to put up a fight at home. Obviously, you have the odd game here and there, but, like, you could always count on Spurs to have, I wouldn't say the best home record, but a decent home record.
Yeah, always try to give the opposition a game, usually. Yeah. I know some teams used to call it 3-point lane, but I think most of the time you'd give the opposition a game.
Yeah, but particularly like teams in the bottom half of the table.
Yeah, it would be easy for us. At the moment, can't even do that.
This account called Surviving Frank saying, just remembered Tottenham play tomorrow.
I think that's a bit adventurous, those tactics, aren't they? I don't know if we're that adventurous. We don't get that many.
No, those are that is our tactics,
Literally.
man. Lump to Richarlison, and that's it.
And long throws from Bergvall and Dan. So
yeah,
try and get something. Oh, dearie me.
Alex fan says, breaking news, Tottenham are threatened to play football. Are threatening to play football.
Oh, God, don't threaten us with Frank Ball. Please, anything but Frank Ball.
Well, you've got a whole 6 months of it left still, mate.
No.
Kane from the Lane says, Thomas Frank's defensively solid, compact and pragmatic Tottenham. So,
well, this was the goal.
Yeah.
Yeah, why is there such a big gap there?
Where's João Palhinha?
Well, Bentencur's forward somehow. Paulini is there. Have to go through the goal.
The way they played through us for that goal was such a beautiful goal, man.
But yeah, we never did that once. Why? I don't know who was it between. It was between Robbie and was it Lafay? But like, so we're saying those are better players than what we have.
Nah, definitely not. We were going to sign Robbie. We were linked with him last year.
And everyone's saying no.
And everyone's saying, nah, he's crap. Get him out. Sean Walsh says, the point being made on Sky was about Ruben Amorim and Manchester United, but good God, what a dumpster fire Tottenham are. Tragic.
So this is what fewest points by Premier League since Amorim's first game. So we're 12 points worse off than Amorim. Only 1 point ahead of West Ham.
That is mad. 1 point. Oh, God. What a mess we're in, man.
And they're getting relegated this season. How mad is that?
Mad. Not even that far ahead of Wolves, would you expect?
Yeah, I know. And they've only won 1 game this season.
No context, Tottenham. Ruben Amorim. Homage to Ruben Amorim, man.
Oh, yeah, what a man. What a legend.
Ruben Amorim, even in the tough times, he was the gift that kept giving for Tottenham Hotspur.
Lost a European final to Spurs and bounced. Love it. What a guy.
He never beat us, you know. He just gave us points. The only club, the only club that we were able to take points off consistently in the last year with Manchester United.
Thank you, Ruben. Thank you for everything.
Thanks for the memories. Paddy Power, the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium is such a tough place to go for Tottenham Hotspur.
Oh God, they write themselves.
No context Tottenham. Justin Cochrane's bio on the Brentford website. Growing up, Justin supported Arsenal. That's all you need to know. His past and present best players, David Rocastle, Ian Wright and Dennis Bergkamp.
We are getting infiltrated. Let me tell you, first Vinay, now Cochrane. We're getting infiltrated with these gooners. Get them out. They don't care about this club. We need some Tottenham fans running this club. Honestly, why do we have so many gooners infesting the place?
So would you swap Mason for Cochrane tomorrow?
Yeah, 100%. Get Mason back in. We need some Tottenham who bleeds blue and white. Somebody who bleeds blue and white. None of this, I was an Arsenal fan when I was younger nonsense.
God.
Get them out. And we need to disinfect it.
I agree.
It's too much gooner energy.
Yeah, it is too
Horrible.
much.
Don't like it.
It's a sabotage from within, man.
Exactly. They're all doing it on purpose. I'm telling you, it's a conspiracy.
He calls his Arsenal buddies after work. Did you see that? Did you see that?
Not even a shot today.
Oh, God. Christian says, the disrespect Tottenham fans have towards Ben Davies astonishes me. No other clubs treat their longest-serving player like this. He's not even that bad. And after yesterday's performance, it's hard to disagree with that. Because the disrespect he was getting before kickoff from everyone, and then he puts in a performance like that, you know.
Do you reckon he starts on Wednesday?
No.
The disrespect.
No, I don't think he does. I wouldn't be against him starting. I won't have the same panic attack on Wednesday as I did on Saturday, but, you know, we've just got better players.
Yeah, true.
Tottenham Marsky says, we sacked Nuno for way less, we sacked Conte for way less, we sacked Ange for way less. Thomas Frank is worse than every single one of them. He is still here. Fuck Enoch.
People started, the heat's turning up on Enoch, I've noticed. Definitely.
Yeah, do you think it's warranted? Or is it fair?
Yeah.
You think it is?
I do. Because I know technically Levy left after the transfer window. But I don't think what's happened now is just completely devoid of them, in my opinion. And also the key decision makers in terms of who's making the footballing decisions has, first of all, Enoch aren't replacing them. They're Enoch's people as well, in my opinion. Vinay, Lange, these kind of people.
Yeah. So
100%. If they're the people you're trusting to make the footballing decisions, and these are the footballing decisions they're making, then 100%. I've got big problems with them. Big problems.
Enoch out.
Enoch out. They're never in.
When are you starting the protest?
I don't need to protest just because I feel it. Why?
When are you starting the Enoch out streams then?
Whenever. Let's do it.
I don't know, man. I want to see more in terms of the next few transfer windows and see how they set us up before I start jumping on the bandwagon again.
No, I'm not sitting here saying I want them out and I'm going to start protesting and like by any means necessary. I'm just saying.
Said Enoch out.
Yeah, I did, but I'm not sitting here saying, oh, we're never going to do anything unless we move them on and all that kind of stuff. I'm just saying I'm quite happy to get rid of them, and I think they are a problem still. Look,
if an offer came in tomorrow from, you know, some Saudis or, you know, big money Qataris or something like that, I wouldn't say no. Put it that way, but I think
I just don't know if they know what they're doing. Again,
yeah, that's fair. That's fair, but we need to give them a bit of time to show if they know what they're doing or not.
Well, first evidence isn't good.
No, I agree with that. Do you agree though that Nuno was sacked for way less? Yeah. Well, I guess he got sacked after what?
10 games, 5 wins, 5 losses.
Yeah.
To be fair,
but it's not about the wins and losses. It's pretty much similar performances, isn't it?
Yeah, and the performances were pretty bad under Nuno as well, to be fair.
I'll say going forward, it was probably worse because he had Kane and Son.
Yeah, that's also true. And there were some games we didn't have a shot on target with him. So, but it was he didn't get the time Frank did.
No,
So,
I think Nuno was worse than Frank, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'd probably agree with that. I think Nuno was probably worse.
But Conte, definitely. Well, Conte got sacked for an outburst. That's what he got sacked for, going against the board. Ange got sacked for finishing 17th. So we'll have to wait and see.
And winning a trophy.
And winning a trophy, yeah. But I think with Ange, obviously it was harsh on him to sack him after winning a trophy. And I think if we would have given him that third season, I don't think too many fans would have had the problem with. But once he was sacked, I think most fans, well, a lot of fans, not most, said it was probably fair.
Not all.
Yeah, not all.
I guarantee you that. But for me, it's also a weird decision as well, a weird element to this, because if we would have kept Ange and things have gone like, let's say they're going this season, it's a very easy decision to sack him and then go in a different direction. But now it isn't.
Yeah.
Now we're stuck.
Yeah, that's true. John Hotspur says, Chelsea 5th, manager gone. Man U 6th, manager gone. Tottenham Hotspur 13th.
We're waiting for the announcement.
It's not coming. It's not coming. This next one is damning, man. Tottenham Hotspur, talking THFC, says bleak. Progressive passes by midfielders in our last 3 games. So the whole of the Tottenham midfield, 4 progressive passes. Adam Warden had 10. Brentford, the whole of the Tottenham midfield had 7. Jordan Henderson had 10.
Henderson. Oh.
And yesterday, the whole of the Tottenham midfield had 5, and Granit Xhaka had 7. So Granit Xhaka, more than our whole midfield, and Jordan Henderson, more than our whole midfield. That is mental.
And so this is the case in point. Like, I understand Wharton, Henderson, Xhaka, they're all good players, but are you meant to say they're better at passing than all our midfield combined?
Yeah.
Is that what I'm trying to? Is that what I'm hearing? That's the narrative.
Yes.
That people say, oh, it's a player quality issue. How is this not on the manager?
Yeah.
He's the one who's telling them not to progress the ball. I'm telling you, he's telling them to pass it sideways to out wide.
And if we would have signed Jordan Henderson or Granit Xhaka, everyone had a shit fit. You know what I mean?
And it all goes to show, because when he played, there's evidence when he played Gray there. Well, Gray is a progressive passer, and he's been in those midfields. And he can't pass the ball apparently as much as these players. Mm-hmm. Like, it's the setup.
Just look at the stat on the panel show that we brought up a few weeks ago about Bentancur.
Yeah, how much more progressive pass he used to play. Yeah. So it's so obvious that it's the setup that's causing this problem. It's not to do with each individual player just can't pass a ball.
Yeah.
No, come on. This is the Premier League. Of course they can. I'm not saying there's obviously differences between elite passers and just normal players. Don't get me wrong. And maybe Wharton, maybe Xhaka may fall into the elite category. I get that. But we're still capable of, as a team, as a midfield collective, having more passes than one player.
But I think people misunderstand sometimes what we're trying to put across. We're not trying to put across that the players that we got are world beaters and we should be in the top 4 and we should be challenging on all fronts week in, week out. But they are a lot better than what they're showing right now. That's what the key point is.
And maybe as a collective, our midfield could have more than one player in their team. Mm-hmm. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. ONTHFC says, yet another goal from a Matisse Tell corner in very limited minutes. That's from him saying, Tell on corners, by the way, I'm a noticer. And you know what? I've been noticing this for quite a while. Tell's got a very good corner.
Yeah, against Boda last season, against Newcastle this season, and now against Brentford. So get Tell on corners. Keep him there. Just look, if your big thing is corners, you need to be starting Tell every game.
Well, to be fair, Ben Davis came on the other day and showed really good corners as well. Get him on then. Christina Zandes says, Thomas the Frank engine.
Oh, dear. That's what's happened. It's been derailed, unfortunately. Major delays on the Frank engine line.
Zeus says, the fact that this was one of our better performances under Thomas Frank shows how incompetent he is. That
is also true. The fact that the first half garnered so much praise at the time.
It shows how starving we are.
Yeah, exactly. We're just desperate just to be in the opposition half, let alone anything else. It's like, oh, wow, we're close to their goal. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, wow. Because, like as I said, in another season and within a different context, we're probably saying, could have done better in that half.
Bro,
you know what I mean?
standards are in the bin, man.
Proper low.
Standards are right in the bin. NS_THFC saying the worst thing I can say about Frank is that he's made me lose all interest, passion and care for my club. I've been through Ramos, Sherwood, Jose, Nuno, and none of them make me feel like this. This is the worst of them all. Do you remember what I was like during the Sherwood era?
You didn't want to go to games, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and I was like,
season ticket.
Like literally go week in, week out, home and away, no matter where the game was. And under Sherwood, I was just like, you know what, I just cannot be asked for this anymore.
Well, Grandpa was like, come on, we go. He's like, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. Why you keep coming here?
Grandpa, you're forcing me to go to games.
Grandpa's like, you're the one who made me get a season ticket. How am I going? Come on.
Like, I don't feel like that because I just enjoy going to games. I enjoy the social aspect of it away from the football side. So I will keep going to games, and I like going to games, albeit we did have that conversation before the Sunderland. I prefer going to the away games. At home, I can give or take.
Soon to be just European games. Yeah, look, I think the problem that a lot of people are feeling this way is because of what we've spoken about before about not really seeing a change inside. Like before, like even last season or whatever other seasons, at least you could shout about, I want this manager out, maybe he'll leave and maybe it'll change, and there's something to kind of get angry about. Right now, it's hard to even get angry because it's not changing. Like, we're not sacking him, I don't think. I don't think that's in the pipeline anytime soon.
That's what I keep saying, man.
No, but that's what's leading to this feeling of apathy because it's like there's no... What's the point of getting angry when we're just... This is it. This is what we're going to be served up. Like, we can't change it because he's not getting sacked. So we're going to have to just put up with it.
Is there still a little bit of you, though, that... Because there is with me, like, before every game, just kind of blank out my mind what's happened in the past, and I still get excited before every game saying, maybe this is the game that is going to change.
I think that happens with every Spurs game. Like, when it's game day... Look, at the end of the day, when it's game day, before that whistle blows, anything can happen. That's football, not just Tottenham. Like, we know that. But then, as soon as that whistle blows, you're back down to reality, and okay, this is actually fucking shit.
Exactly. The whistle blows, the cockerel crows, and now are in the game.
Exactly. So, of course, that's just the build up to the game. You never really know what's going to happen in a game of football. Maybe we'll turn it on. Maybe we'll score 2 goals from 30 yards, and it'll be in a great game or whatever. But at the moment, it's just such a hard watching this Tottenham team. It really is. It's such a chore. It is a chore watching this Tottenham team. I really just don't... It's rare for me to not enjoy watching games, but I'm not enjoying it at the moment.
I think the most fun I've had at an away game was Crystal Palace away this season, and I couldn't see half the pitch, so that's probably why.
At least under Ange, even though it was bad, but at least there's chances against you, and like there's this chaos, and we're losing, but like at least there's stuff happening all the time, something to keep you concentrated. At the moment, it's just like so boring.
To be honest, second half of the season under Ange last year, it was a very similar feeling.
I would say the later games. I would say when it was like come April time, I agree. But I would say for the majority, it was still the games were quite exciting still.
Simon Jimenez says, Kudus going down days after selling Johnson is so on brand for this club. The football gods are undefeated.
Honestly, they've punished us well and truly. How many times has this happened? We for example, we spent last season or 2 seasons ago. No, last season, we decided not to sign a left back and just go with the doggy, and then he gets injured for 3 months straight away. Yeah,
the Davinson Sanchez one that we were talking about.
After the window closed, we sell him with no backup, and our centre back goes injured straight away. It is just like clockwork with this club. As soon as we make a decision like that, maybe put a bit of risk, we get exploited massively. This happens every time. We never get any luck from that situation.
No context Tottenham. We finally got rid of Ange. Getting rid of Levy will finally set us free. Frank is the perfect tactician for this underperforming squad. This is our year. Full clown mode now.
I think there's a few Tottenham fans wearing that clown makeup.
Yeah. Maze says every week, me trying to enjoy my life, and there's Spurs ready to take you down.
Just ready to spoil it, yeah.
Sean THFC saying, we're playing on the counter-attack against Sunderland team who've scored 4 away league goals in this season.
It's just so difficult to take. This is where we're at the moment.
Yeah. Well, it's the reality, isn't it?
That's what we're doing.
Felon82, great ball carrier. That was Bergval's attempted throw-in. Yeah, don't worry about that, but everyone knows what it is.
Wasn't great at carrying the ball there.
Yeah. THFC Shadow says, before we say our attack isn't good enough, Burnley have 2 more than us. Never want to hear that excuse again, because this is unacceptable from the management. And that is Tottenham have 0 open play goals in the last 5 Premier League games. Yeah. For Burnley to have more open play goals than us in the last 5 games is absolutely disgraceful.
But it's just the quality.
Wolves probably do now.
If only had Lyle Foster up front, we'd be able to score. Apparently.
Madness.
It's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous excuse to say it's just a player quality issue.
Yeah. Look, don't get me wrong, the player quality issue is an issue, but it's nowhere near as much of an issue as how we set up every week.
Oh, it's 6 games now, someone says. Is this an old one? No, it's not. It's from yesterday.
It's just a wrong tweet. Paddy says, if you could start Spurs in one video, this would be it. God.
Oh, yeah, Bergwijn, just the ball slipping out of his hand.
Sim's new favourite account, Thomas Frank's Tactical Brain, says, be careful what you wish for. At some point in time, I'll get to be replaced by John the Risk Taker, and you can all revel in it.
Fantastic. Oh, I love this account. Absolutely brilliant.
Ben Bowman says, in what world is he like for Wilson? Frank's player profiling is a massive problem. I know he's got his hands tied to a degree with players missing, but this is just bizarre thing to say. And yeah, we were talking about this before, and it's just like, in what world is Bergwijn and Odegaard like for like?
I guess if I'm being charitable, the only thing you would say is he's saying, I'm bringing on Bergwijn to play number 10 and Wilson was playing number 10, but they are not the same player. Like, they're so different, and it's so frustrating to hear him say things like that.
Yeah. Next one from Dean Grant Muelman saying, fair play to, oh, here we go, nice one. Fair play to Brian and Ben, who still make the show so interesting and enjoyable despite another shocking result. Great show, great knowledge, and please bring in experienced signings. Fair play, lads. Keep up the good work.
Go on, are you going to bring them in?
Yeah, I'm working hard. I'm working hard behind the clock, mate. I'm working hard. And last but not least, Johnny Blaine saying it's now 6.5 matches since our last goal from open play. Since Javi scored against Brentford, it's almost 10 hours against Slavia, Forest, Liverpool, Palace, Brentford and Sunderland. And we're not talking about the best lot in the Premier League, are we?
No, and we can't score a single goal from open play against them.
Yeah.
And the goals we do score are just so bad. I can't even enjoy rewatching them, these goals. So I can't even, like, it's not a good finish. It's not like a tight angle. It's not nothing. It's just like, it's just a cut. It's just a corner which is bundled in. It's
so far away from complaining about what kind of goal we score. Let's just score goals. I don't care how they go in right now. Let's just score some goals.
If you're going to give us a goal, make it a nice goal. If you're going to give us so little of them, like,
oh man,
nothing. I can't even enjoy the goals we score. It's just like whatever. It's so boring.
Yeah.
Like, is that the only way we can score? Just like get it into the box from a corner and bundle it in. That's like the only way we can score.
Richarlison scored from the halfway line.
Yeah, he did. I bet Frank was furious.
We did end up losing 4-1 that game. So anyway, that is the way the internet did react to the game yesterday. And I think that is all we have for you guys today. So big up to each and every one of you. Tomorrow is yet another preview day as the games come thick and fast.
Fantastic.
Bournemouth away on Wednesday night. And yeah, we'll see you tomorrow, people. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.